Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
I know, Ryan Dunigan returning after about 8 episodes lost.
Yeah, I just kind of was back in town. Like, my folks wanted me to come up and visit, so came down, gave me a ride up. They wanted me to visit for a few days, so here I am. I figured, well, it would feel weird to be in town, not hang out with Spencer, or at least record a podcast with Spencer. So,
we don't just talk. You gotta fucking record something while talking.
Look, if we're gonna hang out, there's gotta be something productive involved. We just can't hang out. We gotta make something off it.
I actually got something really funny I want to show you.
Oh, what's that?
This came in my post office, and the first thing I saw when I got this, I thought I got something wrong. And I bet you the postman had a heyday looking at this. Now flip this over. And look what it is.
Okay, I'm looking at back. All right,
don't worry about the back. The back's just an ad.
What the fuck? Oh my fucking god!
When I first opened that, I thought somebody put gay porn in my post office box.
The new Rolling Stone cover with Neil Patrick Harris with wearing nothing but a bow tie and a top hat on his dick.
All I did is I pulled it out because it was all wrapped up like this, and that's like all you could see. So you're like, the fuck did I get? And that's actually like a story in itself. Like, what was it? FYE. About a month or two ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, there was me, Kyle, and Laura went down to a Trivium concert in Modesto. And I stopped by FYA and I was like, oh, cool, sweet. They got Green Lantern First Flight on Blu-ray for $5. I only have it on DVD. I'll get it on Blu-ray for special features. So this $5 DVD, I was in fucking line. It took me probably like 5 minutes because the guy's like, oh, well, you get a couple free magazines. Which one do you want? I'm like, they all suck. Except Rolling Stone, at least they got movie reviews. Mm-hmm. I'll take that one. And stuff, and then went through this whole process, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like, I really don't even care. I just want to fucking buy my $5 Blu-ray and get out of here.
It's kind of like that. There's a Walgreens everywhere in San Francisco. So if you pay in credit card or debit card at Walgreens, it's like fucking forever because there's like a million things. You want to donate to this? Want to donate to that? Want this?
No.
Yeah.
Just like I want my fucking $5 item, and I want to go.
So you pick your magazine.
And it was just like that whole long experience, and then this is what it all leads to. Is then I get to this point, it's like, oh, what the fuck did they send me? I was like, oh, it's Rolling Stone, but we gotta have naked Neil Patrick Harris on the cover. That's the thing, Rolling Stone. They have too many like naked covers. It's just kind of fucking weird.
Didn't have Rolling Stone I don't know. Sometimes didn't see Rolling Stone on.
No, you couldn't. It's wrapped up in that tiny little post office box.
Laura comes in like, what the fuck is this? Is there something you want to tell me?
I just makes me wonder what the postman guy was thinking when he's putting in there. Like,
we probably saw Rolling Stone. He's like, all right, you're not the only. I'm sure you're not the only one that ordered Rolling Stone. But Spencer Scott Holmes.
Well, when you don't see the Rolling Stone section of it, you just look at it at first glance. You're just like, the fuck? Oh, okay. Rolling Stones makes sense. They always have kind of naked, weird, creepy covers.
Yeah, well, for a while they took a break. I haven't really read a Rolling Stone magazine in a while. For a while, like every picture was someone like it would be okay. So here's some pop icon like Katy Perry showing off her tits, whatever. But then it would get really weird. Like here's Scott Weiland wearing nothing but like a newspaper wrapped around his fucking junk, and he has his arms sprung out like a fucking skeleton. Yeah,
like fucking Jesus skeleton.
Yeah, and like
you get Russell Brand on it. It's like he's trying to do sexy
same
pose.
Thing. Yeah, and they would. I mean, this is going years back, but back when I think like probably early 2000s. The Chili Peppers had one where it was all of them, like, all fucking almost naked, just kind of hanging out together on the cover, Yeah,
so. It's just kind of weird. It's like, I don't understand what that's all about. And Rolling Stone's really like, when you take those, like, generic, almost like doctor's office magazines, because when you go to a doctor's office, you go, People, U.S. Weekly, at least there's National Geographic or something, but most of the time it's just kind of like junk, crap. Bring me more pictures of Spider-Man.
J. Jonah Jameson comes out, yeah.
And sometimes Rolling Stone's like that one. It's like, well, at least there's a Rolling Stones there.
Well,
out of like the 140 pages, they probably have 10 pages of worthwhile reading.
Well, I think Rolling Stone. I haven't read them in a while. I like them. I don't always agree with everything they put, but I think that's anything. And every so often, I think they kind of overly glamorize certain shit that isn't a big deal or doesn't need to be glamorized.
Well, I like them for like I like the 2 or 3 pages of movie reviews. I like that section.
Depending on who they're interviewing.
And, well, yeah, it's nice depending on who they're interviewing, but it's kind of nice to, like, okay, gives me a little bit of that. Okay, whatever. But the problem I kind of have with it, it's a magazine that's split nowadays between 2 types of audiences. It's split between this, like, kind of liberal, very like, well, I like to know what's going on in the world, and I like this like political stuff because they'll have these like really fancy articles on there and what have you. But then they'll fill like the other half of the magazine, if not more, with like pretty much People Magazine / US Weekly crap. Like, whoa, what are celebrities doing now? And then it's just like, oh, Jersey Shore and all this crap that they'll throw in there. And you're just like, I don't know how you're supposed to be sold as a sophisticated magazine when you use half of it's this crap.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I
the
understand,
majority
like, when it comes down to it, somebody's like, well, this is how sales go.
I guess I don't even. I guess for me, I just kind of read the stuff I want to read. So if they're interviewing, something they always have on there. 3 people that always seem to be in almost every, maybe even 4 people that almost seem to be in every single month's issue. It's Neil Young, Bruce Springsteen,
always fucking in there.
the Rolling Stones, or at least 2 members of the Rolling Stones, and then Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
They always find a way in there. And
well, here's another one. Look at this picture here. That's got Tom Morello in the picture.
yeah, or Tom Morello's been there a lot lately.
You know, and you got Dave Grohl. You get some interesting things, but this is hilarious. Look, it's Tom Morello and Michael J. Fox.
Oh my god.
It's a great picture of Tom Morello. It's a really bad picture of Michael J. Fox.
Are you sure it's not like a wax figure of Michael J. Fox? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's the wax museum.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Great picture of Tom Morello. I feel bad picture of Michael J. Fox.
I feel bad for it, but well, you know, it's one of those things.
And sadly enough, it really looks like fucking Tom Morello went down to like the Watch program and had to take pictures of the special ed kids.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this to be a dick, but what is Michael J. Fox again? He has.
He's got a new sitcom on right now. Actually, tell you.
Well, I know, but what does he have? What's his disease? Is that?
Oh.
Because I know you shake a lot. You have trouble making certain facial expressions.
You know, because it's the
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Parkinson's.
Fuck, I'm drawing a blank. Probably didn't say in that article, does it?
Parkinson's, was it that? Okay.
No, probably that's not important to the story, but
Well, just this is a very frightening picture. It almost looks like It looks like he's kind of because Tom Morello has his arm around Michael J. Fox, or like.
Well, plus Tom Morello's also like 6 inches taller than him too.
And he's pointing at the camera.
So he looks like a fucking. It looks like he's like Michael J. Fox is a little kid.
Yeah, it looks kind of like.
I gotta meet Tom Morello.
You know that I feel because this is one of my favorite actors, so I feel like a dick saying this. I know he's gone through a lot, but I mean. Well, you know. Remember.
Still pulls through.
All right, remember. Okay, I don't remember its name, but remember Goosebumps? There's that dummy.
Oh my god! Yes.
There's that dummy in the Goosebumps that would
That's like one of the characters had like the most reoccurring book still.
Yeah. So just draw 2 lines down his mouth, and almost looks like Tom Morello's like, "Go attack!" You know.
But you know, that's pretty much like that's how I feel about Rolling Stones, because like I've gotten a handful of like free subscriptions to it. It's like I don't feel like it's a magazine I gotta pay for, because sometimes I'll get an issue, I will literally read all the stuff I want in 5 minutes, and then it's like, oh, done.
Well, I'd read something like, because I haven't read Rolling Stone in a while, because what would happen is, well, it was like kind of whoever else had it. So if you had it, I was like, I was at your house, like,
I kept getting these free.
Bryan
years.
Cranston's on the cover. Let's see what he has to say. Or look, Bruce Springsteen. That's cool. Then like I reached this point where after you stopped getting them, the coffee shop I would go to all the time in town here. They would
Cafe Blossom always has them.
Cafe Blossom would always have them. And I'd go in there, and while I was waiting for my coffee, I would sit there, like, just flipping through the stuff I wanted to read. And then, like, I reached this point where, like, I moved, so, and I don't really go out of my way to get Rolling Stone, and the places, like, so.
Yeah, it's well, basically, it's not really worth going out of your way, but if you're in, like, a doctor's office, or a cafe, or anywhere like that, it's definitely the best choice over other things. You know? Well, since nobody else saw this, and only you have, even though it's been out for a couple weeks, what do you think of Son of Batman?
Son of Batman? I thought that was really good. Yeah, I just want to say before we jump into this.
Because there's all these fucking, like, that's the one thing about podcasting I learned, is that there's nobody else out there who, like, it's so hard to find people that actually like comic books or comic book stuff related. Mm-hmm. It's just most people, like, they just, they could be in the video games, they can be in a lot of the same things, but comic books is still that. It's this other section of medium that you're either into it or you're not.
Well, most
people are not.
Since I moved, I want to say this real quick. there has been the somewhat unofficial podcast we've been having without recording, so generally we both go see, like, Captain America 2, like, dude, what you think of Captain America 2?
Yeah, like, we go back to, like, fucking, like, when you're, like, 14 years old, you pick up your phone, and, like, you talk for, like, a couple hours, you're like, yeah, man, fucking Captain America was so sick.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so doing it. Let's go see it again tomorrow. My mom's taking me down.
It was totally kind of, because I would get home, like, yeah, Captain America 2 was awesome, but then, like...
You look around, there's, like, nobody to fucking talk to.
Well, my roommates, they don't give a shit about comic books or anything like that.
See, once again, you realize that it's hard to find people that are really into it. And you can find people who go like, oh, I like the movies, but...
Wes lives, like, 20 blocks down from me, so I can walk over to his place if I need to. But the thing about that is, he is so busy. He's always working. I actually saw it with him and his girlfriend, Jill. But, like, generally, they're always so busy. I only got a chance to hang out with them twice since I've been there. So we haven't had a real chance to actually talk Captain America or other superhero stuff.
Well, it's just one of those ones. It's like, a lot of people, it's like, you ask them about, like, something like that. Like, I remember just saying something about some Batman to some people, and they just give you, like, that blank face look. Like, they have no idea what the fuck... They know sort of what Batman is, but they don't have any idea what else, anything else.
Well, I remember, like, back when I had my restaurant job, and I would just offhandedly mention just something about what happened in the comics. Like, whoa, Batman has a fucking kid? Or things like that. Like, wait, he died and came back to life, and what happened? You know what I mean? They'd hear something like that, or,
Well, it's kind of weird, because you kind of, like, once you start getting into comics and everything comic book related, you kind of forget that nobody else is fucking into this around you. But you've almost assumed that other people kind of like, dude, you saw the new Batman movie, right? And they're like, you mean the one that came out a couple years ago? I'm like, no, the fucking one that came out last week. The animated one. Oh, I don't watch animation. Animation's gay. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's as far as that conversation's going.
Well, no, there was like another thing, for instance, I'm going to say this. This is kind of what kept me from reading comics for a while, because, when you're a kid, you'd watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
Again, you're watching a more kid-friendly version. Even though most of the kid superhero cartoons growing up we grew up with are pretty good, there are still more friendly versions. Mm-hmm. Then one day, this happened to me like every single time I cracked open a comic book. Then one day, you go over to like Barnes & Noble, you grab one of the trade paperbacks, you flip it open, and a character you know or love is suddenly evil or is suddenly getting murdered, and you're just like, it doesn't cross your mind they're going to be back eventually. But still, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I remember like, all right, because I always knew of, he wasn't my favorite superhero, but I knew of Hulk and Captain America. Mm-hmm. One day I just picked up, this isn't reading the full story, but I just picked up the Ultimates, just, right when it came out. And I flipped that part when, like, they're fighting the Hulk, and then, like, I haven't read this part when Captain America's like, Bruce, we're a teammate. Yeah, we're teams. You're a friend. And kicks him in the fucking jaw, knocks him out, like, get him the fuck out of here. I'm like, what happened? I
thought they were friends.
Yeah, you would have that. Or you'd, like, grab a Batman book, and then, like, just happens that flashback to death in the family. Like, Robin was killed, so.
You get all these things like that. But you almost just kind of forget, though, it's really, no matter what, comics is still like a niche environment. Mm-hmm. It's still, as big as the movies get, and the movies are kind of like its own little separate section,
Yeah.
They almost give a taste of comic books, but they really, I feel like no matter what, the movies still don't sell comic books. Mm-hmm. It's like the people that buy comics are people that buy comic books, no matter what. The movies, you can get 1 million people to go see them. The only people that are fucking buying the comic books are the people that are buying comics before that movie came out.
Pretty much. Well, actually,
it might sell a couple.
I'll sell a couple, yeah.
But, it's still this, like, kind of lost audience, and it's hard to find people to talk about it with. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. Actually, not like... I think that, because, we don't really have a comic book store here, and there's...
I think that also has something to do with it a lot, too, is if you have a comic book store, it changes a lot.
And there's, like, within walking distance, there's 3 comic book stores around where I live. Mm-hmm. So it suddenly went from being kind of like, I'm going to go to Modesto and stock up, to being kind of like they're fucking everywhere, so... First month, I spent so much money in fucking comic books, more than I should have. But yeah,
just because they're there.
They're there to just kind of like catching up with making.
The only downfall of comic book shops, though, is even though as much as I love them, though, it's just the retail price on them is just like that's kind of where I think that's why a lot of people don't buy comics is because they go like, I don't got fucking $25 to spend on this like 1 6-issue collection.
I think it varies. I think sometimes it could be very much kind of like a on the series, because I noticed Daredevil won't be that expensive, but New Avengers would be. Because I think...
Well, yeah, they can range, but they're still, no matter what, they're still like...
Wolverine is always fairly expensive. Same with Spider-Man and Batman because they know they can charge you.
But I guess what was when you get down to it's like, well, you go on Amazon though and you can get it for almost half the price brand new still.
Your standard Batman book is usually at least $20. $16 to the cheapest usually.
Yeah, if it's kind of like if it's in the trade paperback form.
Trade paperback that's been out for a few years. Yeah.
But that's the only. I think that's always kind of a downfall. And I think what a comic book store works really well with is if you want to get single issues, because that's way too fucking expensive to buy offline single issues.
I can't even read. Like we went over that before. Like, well, a lot of podcasts back. Why I can't even read single issues just because they have all the ads, which just kind of like
the ads
someone got murdered, then all of a sudden like get bubble tape or whatever, And
that's they're mostly worse with things like Marvel and DC. But then there's some things where it's like there's maybe a couple ads in there and they don't like. Kind of like when Tom Morello's comic Orchid came out. Like I just got all the regular issues of that because I wanted to get it while it was there.
And ads, I read those.
And it was kind of fun just to read that. Like there is something to be said about reading it like the day it comes out instead of having to wait fucking 6 months for the book to come out. I guess it's kind of equivalent. It's like seeing a movie day one. It's like buying a video game day one. There's something kind of fun about having this. You're like, I'm just in the now. I have this. This is like the prime of like what the comic books are at the moment. This is the prime of like where video games are at or movies and what have you.
Yeah. But something I do want to say real quick, because we were talking about people and comics and all that. I noticed that like if you have a comic book shop, nearly anybody in the maybe not anybody, just the person in the store, but the person working the store behind the register, they're always very fun to talk to about.
Well, obviously, they're working at a comic book store.
Yeah, but sometimes, even other places I've been to, it's kind of like, yeah, here's your shit, get the fuck out. But there, I noticed maybe, I don't know what it is, maybe something in the water, but people are just a lot, that work there are actually way more talkative, like, oh, have you read Scott Snyder's other book, Wake or whatever, you know what I mean? So they'll like jump in and all that.
Huh. Yeah, well, I think that's with most stores, unless you get like bad employees.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking bad employees. I'm just thinking of other places where they're just kind of like, hey, what's up? Yeah, here's your book. Get out. Not even get out.
Well, probably people that they're like, my dad owns this fucking place. I didn't want to work here.
Yeah. Well, even kind of like, because it's one of my favorite comic books. It's probably one of my only favorite stores in Modesto. But Bonanza, and they're really cool. The people there are really cool, really friendly, but they're a little older, so it's like there's not really much. I think there's like, we just know what sells, what doesn't sell.
There's like that slight generation gap, even though they kind of still.
They are really nice, though.
Yeah,
they are. Really
and still pretty knowledgeable about all their stuff.
Yeah. Well, I doubt that old dude behind the counter reads Deadpool.
Well, yeah, I'm not.
Or the Thunderbolts.
Well, yeah, he probably doesn't read them all, but just like, do you read all the comics?
No, I'm just guessing that guy probably just knows what sells and all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He probably knows who Deadpool is. He probably doesn't know much more than that.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
As
long as the store runs fine, that's all that matters.
But back to Son of Batman.
Oh right, yeah. That
was a pretty good DCU movie. I liked it quite a bit.
I liked it a lot. Yeah, I don't know if I put it as one of my favorites. I watched it twice to try and fully take it in. I do like it. Something I always kind of like in the DC universe movies is if they have some like emotional gravitas to them or some emotionality. Emotionality. I haven't had any coffee today, so bear with me here. But but some emotion to it. And that one,
a giant iced tea.
This doesn't do shit for me. Actually, I'm kind of at that point where like I don't have caffeine to like.
Is there caffeine in that?
There's just a little bit of caffeine. Let me just say this real quick.
I'm surprised. I would say just because it's tea, I'm just surprised there's not caffeine in it.
No, there's caffeine, but not like a fuck ton of caffeine. So.
Because tea has just as much caffeine as coffee.
Yeah, doesn't say anything about. Oh yeah, whatever. It doesn't feel like. Well, let me just say this. It's kind of like one of those things. Like I'm at the point where if I have caffeine, I don't really like. I don't feel like woo. I'm like wide awake or anything. It's like I feel normal. It's kind of like a bad place to be at. And almost to get that kind of like oomph, I gotta have like a fuck ton of coffee. And this is like
Now you need a Fedrin or something like that next to go to the next level.
What I need is probably to detox for like 2 months. I don't know of coffee.
You probably detox it like in 1 week, but.
I don't know, man. I drink a lot of fucking caffeine. I've been getting up at 5:30 at my new job, but no.
That's horrible.
No, but anyway.
I notice that everybody nowadays seems to get up to these really ridiculous early hours. I'm just like,
Yeah, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. But anyway, Batman. We keep on getting off track, Batman. So, but I know someone's listening, whoever's listening, like, fuck, just talk about fucking Batman, No, but I thought it was good. I kind of like it more when they have a little bit more emotion to them. This one didn't have a whole lot of that, but the action and the story was still really awesome. Mm-hmm. So. It's better than just, I think of all like the DC Universe movies, the animated ones, I think this one's probably right in the middle, and that's by no means a bad thing.
No.
I think that's a still really good
Because there's
thing.
really, if I think probably the worst one of them all, it's probably the Gotham Knight one.
Maybe even Justice League War over Gotham Knight.
Yeah, Justice League War, I'd probably say is in there, but I'd probably say Gotham Knight a little bit. I like Justice League War at least a little bit more than Gotham Knight. Gotham Knight had a couple moments in it that, stand out, but, that one was kind of just, I always look at that one as kind of like, that's the lowest of the low. And it's not, the worst, but it's just really not that amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gotham Knight, and I'm not going to go on all the negative one, but I think that Son of Batman's probably right in the middle, probably behind Superman versus the Elite.
I probably like it more Superman versus the Elite.
Really?
But,
I like Superman versus the Elite more.
Superman versus the Elite, I find that kind of one that, the middle section, too, where it's just, it was good. It wasn't, amazing, an all-star Superman, or, obviously... After the Dark Knight Returns kind of comes out, it's everything is... Yeah. It's just because, it's kind of hard to go climb higher than that peak, but...
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I thought that one was really good. I watched that one a couple of times. I just kind of like how it actually is one of the ones that questions, why you need a Superman, why you need kind of a Boy Scout every so often.
Yeah.
But, because usually it's because that one actually did bring up the argument, where usually it kind of of course we need Superman, fuck off, it ends with that same viewpoint, but at the same time, it actually did address the other side. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. But, Son of Batman's pretty cool. It just gives, the story of Damian. He's never been in anything animated, so...
And it was kind of it wasn't like they did a direct adaptation of the books.
They kind of put a little bit of stuff from different ones in there.
They took a little bit of Son of Batman. They took a little bit of the vibe, even though it was Dick Grayson, of the Batman and
Once
Robin.
again, fucking Tim Drake's he's really gonna be the Forgotten Robin, though. He is so gonna be the Forgotten Robin, because now it's if you were a kid and you went out and picked up fucking Batman comics, Tim Drake wouldn't make any fucking sense to you.
Who's this Red Robin guy?
Yeah, was this guy fucking Robin for a day and then that was fucking it? Where, when we grew up, Tim Drake was such a humongous Robin, but I think that's only, a slight 90s generation thing, and then 90s into 2000s, I guess you could say.
Some people may disagree with me on this. I think of Dick Grayson more... I think of him as Nightwing before I think of him as Robin now.
Do you really? I still think of him as... that still comes up just in the same thing, but, if you take all, the main Robins and put them together, it's Dick Grayson, he's really important because, one, he's the first Robin, but two, he's Nightwing, and Nightwing's such a big character, nowadays, that he stands real tall. But then Jason Todd, who used to sort of be the Forgotten Robin, the only thing about him that made him was he was the one who died, but other than that, though, there wasn't nothing too special. He's become Red Hood, which has made him this huge character now. Mm-hmm. So now he stands out really tall. And then Damian's, just since he's been kind of the newer Robin, and then he's Batman's son to top it off, and then they make him, also, he's part of the League of Assassins and all that stuff. So he's become this huge character. Tim Drake's just kind of in the center. It's well, what's Tim Drake? Well, he was the Robin that Batman took in after Jason Todd. And, he became Red Robin later. His dad died. So it just... And in New 52, he's just fucking there, lots of times. Just, I don't know where his position is exactly.
I thought of him for a while, because I was basically... he was sort of the main he was the main person I thought of as Robin for a while. Now I know Dick Grayson was the original, but like I said, I had him set in my mind as Nightwing. So for a long time, Tim Drake was who I thought of as Robin.
Because when I was seeing the Batman universe, it was just there's Batman and Robin. Who's Robin? Robin's Tim Drake, because Dick Grayson's Nightwing at this point.
Yeah, and that's most of the comics I read. By that point, Dick Grayson was Nightwing.
Yeah.
Because most of the Batman comics I read are 80s and up.
Well, yeah, because technically, Dick Grayson, unless you're reading one of the ones where it's a standalone thing or something like that. Robin hasn't been, or Dick Grayson hasn't been Robin since, the early 80s. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So, but now it's just with the New 52 with the condensed Batman universe, which making it out that who God knows how long fucking Tim Drake was Robin. And then once you had Damian kind of come in and fucking just push him literally physically out of the fucking way.
Kicked his ass at one point.
Yeah. That was the part though where I was fuck that Damian kid. He fucking beat up my Robin. Fuck him. Over time, I became to like Damian. But there was just that period, in that Batman and Son one, that issue.
You hated that.
It was just I fucking hate that Damian kid. Fuck that kid.
Yeah, because they pretty much pull from Batman and Son. Damian and Son. Batman and Son.
Damian and Son.
Down. No. Awesome. They play that song for the opening credits.
Bum, 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 bum.
It's just Batman humming it. Da, 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 da. No. What was I gonna say? It was they took from Batman and Son. They took from a little bit of more, just a bunch of Grant Morrison involving Damian.
Yeah, pretty much just a bunch of like Damian stories combined in one.
Because they took a little bit of like from the Batman and Robin stuff when Dick Grayson was Batman, but it was still Bruce Wayne, just inspired. Just had a little bit of that vibe, a little bit of that look.
Yeah.
I mean, and they, as far as I know, like, because they fought Deathstroke briefly in Batman and Robin, but he wasn't really a huge player. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, this is totally fine. This almost did feel a little bit like if you presented it to someone who's never read it before, because what they had Deathstroke was the main villain, and they actually went into the way of like, oh, this is how he lost his eye, and showed Damian, and he had his own army, which he doesn't have that, but at the same time, it's totally fine. It's a movie. It's I think that's kind of like I think if you were to add maybe 20 or 30 minutes to this, I think it would make a perfect live action movie. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I think this was, and I think it's kind of they have to sometimes kind of make him. It's like they have to make him just pulled back a little bit so that if you kind of jumped in with basic comic book knowledge, you could know what was going on and not make it too fucking confusing. Because really, if you just did it like the exact same way, it'd be like people would be like, "Who the fuck is Red Robin?
Yeah.
Why is he beating that guy up?" So throw him, because I think like by now it's like Nightwing's accepted enough that people can realize. And
that was Neil Patrick Harris, wasn't it?
No,
that wasn't Neil Patrick Harris.
No, and if you realize that, even the story explains. It's like, well, if you don't know who fucking Nightwing is, he's Robin. It explains it even in the thing.
Yeah.
But it kind of gives enough to just kind of like, okay, you can ease in and you can figure it out. Where I feel like one that might be hard for somebody if they didn't know really anything, but like, well, I've seen the Tim Burton Batman and I saw the Christopher Nolan ones. That's about as much Batman as I know.
Tim Drake, Robin.
No, Tim Burton.
No, I was saying one thing way hard to understand. I was going to say.
Well, I was saying is if you kind of give him like Red Hood. Red Hood's kind of like one of those ones where it's like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, like, I think people would get it, as a story sense, but there is a lot more extra characters in there thrown in. Well, it's not as confusing as like just whipping out some like fucking random Grant Morrison comic.
Well, I thought it was funny. I'll say this. I thought it was funny when like Batman shows up with Robin with Commissioner Gordon, and he's all like, "You got another one?"
there is that one had like the example of like good comedic lines. Like Alfred also had some good lines too, where they weren't like too comedic. Like Justice League War was just kind of almost like sort of like it was this action comedy with just a bit of like slapstick thrown in, and whatnot.
Like his line when it said like she's like, Pennyworth, I am not young enough to not understand sarcasm. I'm not young, so young I don't understand sarcasm. He's like, and I'm much too old to care.
I love that one. Even though I will say though that I kind of noticed this. I'm kind of like I was kind of getting sick and tired of like the Court of Owls because of how many times they were fucking used throughout a bunch of different books. I'm almost starting to get kind of tired of the League of Assassins. Because I almost see it in way too much stuff now. Because the League of Assassins, it was kind of the main thing of this one. It's the main fucking thing of Arrow Season 2. It's the main, you think about it, you go back to like even the Batman Christopher Nolan movies. Beware the Batman, it's the main thing in that one. It's just like, it comes like a little too much of that. And even Deathstroke too. I'm like, Deathstroke's the main fucking villain of Arrow Season 2. He's the main villain of this one. He was in, even though it wasn't huge, but he was in Batman Arkham Origins. Like, I almost feel like they pick, like, a certain character or a group, and then they just fucking use that a bunch of times over. It's just like...
I think it's one of those things...
It's like, spread it out just a little bit. But it's just like, I guess, because there's just too many things right now that keep using the League of Assassins. It's almost like they said, like, oh, it worked great in the movie. Let's just fucking keep using that. People seem to love this League of Assassins thing. And it's like, I like it, but don't get me wrong. It's just like, break it up a bit.
I think it's one of those things, it's easier to, like, probably introduce those guys instead of, like, the Penguin or the Riddler. Just because they seem a little bit more of kind of like... I guess a little more realistic and a little bit more so you could take them seriously because they're not wearing some wild and wacky outfit. I will say this, though. This part was all kind of, like, silly to me. The part when you see all these ninjas, like, training, and then all of a sudden these fucking, like, these Black Hawk helicopters come up and just start mowing them down. The ninjas still attacking. I wonder, like, day after that, like, they have an appointment. Okay.
New plan.
We gotta get some fucking guns.
What the fuck is up with that Gatling arrow shooting?
That's our one gun. Granted, it worked really good, but everyone should probably carry some guns, you know? I saw Phil get shot in the head.
Yeah, no wonder Deathstroke thinks he should be the next guy to lead this. He took technology to the next level.
We all had to twist Rage's arm to get the Gatling arrow thing, so...
He still thought that was pretty stupid 200 years ago.
Sure enough, though, that was the one... Maybe there's a reason why Rage is fucking dead, you know?
Yeah, God.
Tully is not here, I can fucking say that.
He became the bitter old fuck that wasn't gonna change over the last couple hundred years.
His daughter's not in the room, I can fucking say that. What?
But yeah, it is one it's like it's just an overabundance because Arrow's been like that too, you know. It's just like, oh well, we saw how Slade lost his fucking eye in that one because fucking Green Arrow shot him in the eye with a fucking arrow, you know. And it's just like, okay, Damian takes out his eye, like okay, we'll just learn all this stuff.
I guess it's like one of those things like they don't account that people who, well, I guess they probably know.
They probably assume that if you know,
they assume people read the comics, they're probably gonna be like, oh, they love this shit, just throw it at them. And for the people who don't know, like, oh, they just learned some new stuff, you know.
And I think for the person who's not like the huge fan, I think it's kind of easier to go like, oh, okay, well I know what the League, when they, you know, they can pick up that Son of Batman one and be like, oh, I know what the League of Assassins is. I saw the Christopher Nolan movie and I saw the Green Arrow show, so it's like it makes sense.
I don't remember the gorilla with bat wings. I'm assuming that wouldn't surprise me the least bit though if that was in some Grant Morrison book somewhere.
Yeah, no,
I don't remember that, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Grant Morrison threw in a gorilla with bat wings.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming that's a real thing.
I'm surprised.
Croc in it too. I kind of forget about that, but Croc's also kind of.
I'm surprised it didn't like, you know, come from the ninth dimension and have like some kind of weird like supernatural power, you know? It just seems like a Grant Morrison type character, you know, just some weird thing he pulled from like Babylonian mythology or some shit, you know?
Just something like that.
Something no one else knew of, like, oh, I guess, okay, that's kind of cool when you think about it, but at first glance, like, what the fuck is this, you know? So that's in a lot of his writing.
Yeah, he likes to pull all those like random characters that never get enough like screen time or book time.
Or just like pull things from different like cultures or philosophical points that you wouldn't even think of and somehow fit into the story. You're like, oh, it actually sounds kind of cool when you put it that way. Granted, you had to explain it to me through that very thick accent in an interview, but still.
Yeah, exactly. But did you watch any special features on there? It's pretty good.
I didn't have any special features on mine.
Oh, you just get the regular disc.
You know what? I'll say this. We were talking about how you just can't find it very many comic book fans. I actually had to go to 3 different spots and
to find this DVD.
To find the DVD. So they're out there, and sure enough, the only one that was left is just the standard DVD. I still don't have a Blu-ray player, so fuck it, I'll just get the DVD.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Yeah, that's a pretty good ones on there. They pretty much had one that kind of talked about just like Damian, they had like a little documentary on him, and then they had one with like the character designer, which was kind of neat. Mm-hmm. And there was one. I want to say just talk about the League of Assassins.
You mentioned Croc first. I want to say that whole thing with Croc, that whole plot point. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to say that came from Hush.
Huh.
That plot point
could be true. I didn't think about that.
Because Croc was stealing like medical supplies and he was getting all deformed through like, you know, I think. You know.
Well, that's one of the parts you kind of forget about. Like, oh yeah, Croc was in that movie too.
Yeah. Well, it was a cool little like throw. Well, it also had some great Batman moments, like when Croc was all chained up, like. They won't medicate you, Croc, because they're too afraid to get close to you. They just walk up to him.
Right face up.
I'm not. You know, those are like the moments that are like Batman as fuck right there.
You know, as I said, it's like I like that one quite a bit. I really can't complain too much about it. There's nothing.
I really can't complain about it either.
You know, I mean, it's no matter what, it's never gonna be a Dark Knight Returns. That and I feel like that's just like you almost just like kind of minus that one off because it's just like it's never gonna be that. Mm-hmm. So what's the next one down that you could probably get close to? It's like it might not be. It's probably not good as maybe Red Hood. Or
and the thing is, I'll say this: I like the Red Hood, the movie, more, but I think the comics this one is based off of is better than the Red Hood comics. Sometimes it's kind of weird how that happens.
Wait, which one?
I think
you think the Red Hood, the DCU movie's better than the comic?
No, all right, yeah, I think that's better than the comic. What I was trying to say was, I think the Red Hood movie is better than Son of Batman, but I think the books Son of Batman is based off of are better than the Red Hood comics.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that's true too. Mm-hmm. You better say this one I probably like more than Son of Batman or Batman and Son the comic. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just because they kind of like by now they've kind of been able to like let's iron out Damian a bit so that he's not just because like in that one he was just douchey the whole fucking time. There was not a moment like where you're like I like this person. It's just like I just want him to die. The entire issue you're just sitting there I want him to die. Over many issues and other writers later on you actually come to like Damian, but. Mm-hmm. Pretty much once he becomes fucking like tamed, I think that's when he becomes kind of better.
Yeah, I think it was basically going by Batman and Son, and then it took it took a little of his personality and moments from other books, because the ninja Batman or Man-Bats, the ninja Man-Bats, that was all out of Batman and Son, and the whole underwater compound, I think that was something made up, but who knows? Maybe that's in a book somewhere I missed.
Be, yeah. We all realize that it could be just something.
Yeah. So.
You know, but
I know they did fight Deathstroke. Dick Grayson worked with
Damian.
Yeah, Dick Grayson worked with Damian. They fought Deathstroke at one point because they made Talia a lot more loving, because Talia was very much kind of like very cold and calculating like her father, and didn't really give a shit so much for Damian. I mean, she wanted him to live and succeed, but not like in a warm, motherly kind of way. Like, no, we gotta protect Damian so he can rule the world. Not so much like, no, we gotta protect him because he's my son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there's this interesting little issue. It's in one of the new 52 Batman and Robin ones where it's just like, it's Damian from like age like 1 all the way like 10, and every single like year he asks he's like, Mother, can I meet my father? And she's like, only if you beat me in battle. And each year they're doing a different battle, and like he loses every single time. And
so when he's 2, she has
literally she's fucking 2. He's fucking like beats him down with like a pole and just stand there bleeding. Like, maybe next year, Damian. And then the next year comes by, and then by age 10 he beats Talia, and then she's like, okay, now I'll go introduce you to your father. I thought that was a pretty neat issue though.
That's just the idea of
like a fucking mother beating.
Let's
your
at
son.
least wait till he's at least maybe, I don't know, 6 before we sock him in the fucking face.
Well, he's Damian.
Maybe a little older, but let's just start off, if he really wants to meet him that badly, let's at least wait till 6, maybe 7.
Was there ever an issue though where fucking Tim Drake just fucking whoops Damian's ass? 'Cause I don't really remember that. I just remember fucking Tim leaving, going, "Fuck you, Batman! Why'd you bring this guy in here?" 1, 2. Why the fuck were the lights off and I was just left alone with some child that I didn't know was even in here? Because that was like the one thing that I think that's what made me. If there was anything that made me hate Damian more than anything else, other than it really bothered me how he treated Alfred and stuff.
Yeah.
But I hated how much he treated Tim Drake, because I think that's my fucking Robin.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with Tim Drake.
Just basically after that, you basically imagine Tim Drake walking down the street with the sad Hulk song playing. Do, 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 you know? It's kind of what's happened to Tim Drake lately.
It really is. He's just not fucking there. It's like, does he have his own new 52 issue?
He has he's the leader of the Teen Titans.
He's still okay. At least he's still got the Teen Titans. Because I know he's he's in the Teen Titans show, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually supposed to be Dick Grayson, Teen Titans show.
Is it? I thought that was Tim Drake the whole time.
No, Dick Grayson.
Is it really?
Well, because I'm guessing.
Well, I know Dick Grayson's the original one, but I thought that show
Well, because it's using.
Because I always thought that show
characters.
was, strangely enough, it sounds weird, but Teen Titans was an offshoot from fucking Batman, so it's that's why you don't see Robin in Justice League. That's what I always thought it was.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was a parallel universe kind of thing.
Because I always thought it was kind of
episode...
a weird offshoot. Now, I'm not talking about maybe Teen Titans Go, even though I think that's a sequel of the fucking original one. Just somehow, some way, they just they started maybe getting into drugs or something.
You actually kind of zoom out of what's really going on in Teen Titans Go. You see all 4 of the Titans just strung out, taking heavy drugs, just laying around the Titans Tower.
This is just all in their mind.
Yeah.
But
let's get some pizza, guys.
The last thing they did
eating,
is they fucking built this machine so they could hook it up all to each other's brains so they can share dreams.
They're all eating plaster out of the wall. This is some good pizza, just foaming at the mouth and shit.
But so
make the show quite better.
At least he's got something going on. So there's a Teen Titans New 52.
Yeah, I don't really.
I don't really care. Teen Titans is one of those ones I like characters out of Teen Titans, but I could care less about that style of story.
Well, plus it's also kind of a new Teen Titans. Keep that in mind, because the Teen Titans, it's all the Teen Titan characters are there in the 52.
But a lot of them have been in other stuff now, because Starfire's not in it anymore and Cyborg's not in it.
Starfire is with
the Red
The
Hood.
Red Hood. Cyborg's part of the Justice League.
Yeah.
I don't know, nor do I give a fuck where Beast Boy is. He can be fucking dead for all I care. I never gave a shit. No?
Yeah, Beast Boy's a character. I don't know. He's just. He's just the annoying kind of it's not because he's gay that it really bothers me, but just the fact that he's just obnoxious.
I don't know. He's just one of those characters that I don't really cared too much for. And then I don't really, I'm not sure. I think Raven still might be part of the Teen Titans. I'm not so sure. Because what happened is I bought Red Hood and the Outlaws during Death of the Family. Mm-hmm. And they take a couple issues from Teen Titans and throw it in there. Because at some point, because Tim, they threw a twist at you. Jason Todd and Tim Drake actually get along pretty well.
Huh.
They changed that, so they're on good terms with each other. At some point, they're kind of working together to stop it. So they take a few issues where the Outlaws and the Titans are working together, and they got they have the
Outsiders anymore in like the New 52.
I don't think so.
Because I didn't see any of that stuff.
I don't think you have the Outsider. Maybe you do, but if you do, Nightwing's probably not in it. Otherwise, I would have known about that.
Yeah, because Nightwing's just kind of doing his own thing.
And I think Nightwing was actually, I don't even think he was an original outsider. I think they just threw him in there to help sell the book. Like, Batman shit sells it, so throw it in there.
Throw fucking Nightwing in there.
I think that's what happened. That's the main reason I bought the book. Nightwing front and center with the two batons. I was like, okay.
Well, because too, it's like when you first look at it, like day one, you're like, okay, I know who Nightwing is. Don't know who these other people are, but I guess he'll let me.
Well,
he'll make me learn who these rest of these folks are.
And I actually liked Outsiders. I was reading it. I read the first 4 volumes. Then all of a sudden, like, Nightwing leaves after the 4th one. Like, I'm done here. He's like, oh, I'll get to it.
Never did.
Never got back. I will at some point because I did like it. I like Judd Winnick. He's a good writer. But no, like they were working together against the Joker, and it kind of ran parallel. They, of course, did the thing where they take the one Batman issue where Batman explains how. At the very end of Death of the Family, when he explains how like where he defeats Joker in a sense, and then he explains how he confronted Joker as Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. They have that issue in there somewhere. So, and it's it's good, but it's like I aside from Wonder Girl and Dick Grayson and Kid Flash, I don't know who the fuck anybody else was.
Yeah,
maybe Raven was in there. I really don't remember.
So yeah.
And then there's also like, what was I gonna say? I got Superman. Actually, no. Now it's Batman Superman.
Superman doesn't hold that fucking title anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think they just realized because at first when Superman Batman first came out.
You know, I think Superman Batman comes off the tongue better than Batman Superman, but
I think it does too. But when Superman Batman first came out, I liked it and I was really into it. But then like it kind of had like this back and forth like zigzag like. They kept on switching out writers, and Jeff Loeb started off on it, and he was really good. But then it got to I want to say volume 4. It's like what the fuck happened here? But I don't know how much longer he was on it after that. But then it just kind of like had this up and down thing. I'll go be good, be bad, be good, be okay, be good, all right, And then this first volume though, this new series, really good, really weird, but really good.
No, that's the one where like it's like a blue cover in the background. They're like flying up or something like that.
And there's like these kind of weird looking, I guess they're not demonic, but they look kind of demonic. These kind of like weird, like almost steampunkish, like robots kind of reaching up. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw that one on there. I was like, oh, that looks interesting.
It's good, but it's different though. It does that the whole plot line where they cross dimensions. They actually go to Earth 2 and confront themselves.
Well, I know that Earth 2's they put that into like New 52. There's a bunch of issues on that.
Well, I think Earth 2, that's basically just kind of like, here's just a bunch of stuff, here's a bunch of cool stories that we just can't fit into the other one,
Yeah. So I guess we need to put them somewhere. We'll just make Earth 2.
Yeah. So I read that one. That one was pretty good, but
What do you think of that new Batman movie coming out? The Batman, pretty much it's a Suicide Squad movie when you really break it down, but was it Assault on Arkham?
I think someone just really wanted to make a Suicide Squad movie, but they realized, well, Batman's going to sell it, so
nothing wrong with that. Slap Batman.
I'm fine with that. That's one of those cases. I totally see the business side of it, but at the same time, I like me some Batman, so why not?
You never go around with Batman. You put Batman in everything, and it's like that doesn't really bother me. It's it's like sometimes they use that to sell it. It's sort of like Flashpoint. It's pretty much it's a Flash movie, but it's really a Justice League movie at the same time too.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. I'll say this: I like the Suicide Squad. I like the team, the Suicide Squad. I didn't really care for New 52, the volume 1 I read, which I really tried to get into it, and I read it, and it wasn't bad, but I just didn't really care that much.
Well, sometimes you get those ones you're like, I'm gonna experiment, I'm gonna get this one, then you kind of get some, you're like, well, they're just not up to par as like, a Batman or a Superman or a Green Lantern or something like that.
And then another thing, when you got a book like that, because they're a book about villains, like that's cool. Like an idea of a Black Ops team that's all on death row, and they gotta go on these more or less suicide missions for their freedom. That's a cool concept to me. But the thing is, they kind of kill a lot of characters off. Characters come and go, so by the time you get attached to one character,
it's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I know at some point Deadshot, he'll probably be back, but I know at some point Deadshot dies in it. And after I kind of come to Deadshot, to me was always one of those characters. Oh, there's Deadshot, but after I'll say this: something Suicide Squad did right. They made me like Deadshot. They made me think he was a cool character.
And he's mostly always seems like the main character of the Suicide Squad. It feels like whenever at least they start one off, it's like he's always there.
I mean, he'll be back to life at some point, I'm sure, but I saw one where he died, and I was like, okay. So then it's just like, well, I don't know if I want to keep on reading this thing. So
because who they got in this one? They got in the new Batman movie. They got
Killer Frost.
Yeah.
They got Deadshot. I don't know who the guy with the
Harley
teeth
Quinn.
is. I don't know who the guy with the teeth is. They got Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, I think that's cool. They put him in there.
I like Captain Boomerang.
You don't get enough Boomerang. They had a couple of people, but it just looks like a sweet movie. It's cool that they're doing kind of like a Guy Ritchie style movie.
And it's supposed to take place in the Arkham universe.
Yeah, it's supposed to be sort of a prequel to Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, which I'm really cool with that.
That's perfect. You know, it just sounds like an all-around good movie. It looks like they had a lot of footage done too of it, because a lot of times you get these ones and you see the actors and you see a bunch of screen tests, but you don't really see too much actual footage. But this one had a full-on trailer on that DVD too for it.
They're coming out these movies quicker than what they used to. It used to be every 6 months they come out with one, but now it's this is coming out I think in August.
No, I think it's coming out before. They said summer. Well, it might be August. I looked online; they didn't have an official date, but that thing said summer, which I guess August still is summer. But
yeah, I want to say IMDb. Maybe it's because they're coming out with these movies. I think almost come out with these movies three a year.
Yeah,
where they used to be 2 a year.
And sometimes they take a little bit longer. Kind of like Justice League War was supposed to come out in November, and then they come out to January or something like that.
Maybe that just gave them time to work on all these other ones,
Yeah. But it's kind of good because I kind of like that because that really gives me something to look forward to. I will say that I look more forward to these DCU movies than I do anything else. No other movie I look forward to nearly as much. And a lot of times these ones always impress me more than any other theatrical movie that's out there.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like them, but these movies just outbeat anything.
Did you get Batman Zero Year yet?
No, it didn't come in yet.
Oh,
remember, they didn't ship it. They probably shipped it today. It's Tuesday.
Yeah. I got that. I read. Usually I will talk about whatever it is we've been reading or doing, but
yeah, but don't talk about that one.
I know you.
When
really
I spend $18 on it, I don't want to get the details blown away.
It's good. I'll say this though. I'm not spoiling anything here.
It's good. Well, just because you don't want to hear it doesn't mean I don't want to talk about it.
No, I'll say this. If you're gonna line up all the Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder books, I'd say number 1 is probably Death of the Family.
Yeah.
Number 2, Court of Owls. Number 3, Zero Year. And then number 4, probably the second Court of Owls, which is still a really good book.
Still a damn good book, but it does. Well, I think that second one's kind of it's like an in-between story. Kind of finishes up Court of Owls, kind of starts something else, but it's really that kind of the waiting gap before the next big storyline.
Because you really got probably out of that 6-issue book, you got probably 3 that actually have to do with the Court of Owls, and then you got something on Harper Row, and then you have something on Mr. Freeze, which kind of what the fuck was that about?
That was the one fucking shit issue of that run.
And then you had the one. I mean, this was a good one, but then it's kind of the thing on Alfred's father.
Oh, that was a cool one.
That's a cool one. That's a cool one. But it was kind of you had 3 random stories, and then they had to do with it a little bit. You had 3 random stories, and then you had the 3 main Court of Owls stories.
It also has those single shot ones. I
really liked the Alfred one.
The Alfred one was great. It made up for that really crappy Mr. Freeze issue. That was the one thing I read by Scott Snyder. It's you totally don't fucking get. You don't get Mr. Freeze. I know you want to. It's either that or you just really want to change him. But it's by doing that, it takes out the whole dynamic of Mr. Freeze by saying he's evil since a kid. Then it's well, fuck. Then the thing I like about Mr. Freeze is he's this guy. The only reason he does bad things is because he's doing it for love, and that makes a strong character thing. But then once you put him in the same level as the Joker, it's just why don't they all be the fucking Joker? Why don't you just go fucking make the next Tim Burton movie then?
He does a good job of writing Red Hood. I'll say that one, or Joker. However, what?
Oh, okay. As I say, I was Scott Snyder.
Oh, OG Red Hood. OG Red Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job with writing that, and it feels like Joker. It's obviously supposed to be Joker, you know. But,
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting. Like, is he gonna do the thing where he makes us think this is Joker over here, but it's actually one of these guys over here? But no, it's actually they.
It just goes with it.
It goes with it, yeah. But he does a good job, though. He doesn't do the whole thing like well, maybe they'll go back into more detail later. But it always seemed like he was always Joker. He was always crazy. He didn't do the Alan Moore thing where he was a struggling comedian who went insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like that was the handful of characters I think can always be insane. You know, if the Joker's always insane, that's fine. I just think with characters like Mr. Freeze, it's like that's what makes him so cool, though.
Or Two-Face.
Yeah, or Two-Face, who was actually just such a good guy. The fact that, like, when everything went, like, crap, he was just like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fuck it. Why even try? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get other characters, too, that, like, Croc feels like he's always... But he's just because he's persecuted, so he always feels evil.
You kind of understand Croc, you know?
Yeah, just like, everybody fucking hates you, so you hate back.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But...
Anyway, but yeah. What else you been up to?
Let's see. Well, we even though I guess we saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Captain America. We started talking about these on the phone, but
yeah,
might as well. No, once again, mini comic book things that you have nobody to talk about with. You kind of go see Captain America and you just kind of go, nobody else fucking saw Captain America. Well, I guess that's it. And then you see Amazing Spider-Man and you're like, oh, nobody else saw Amazing Spider-Man. Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's what those kind of same thing. Well, I saw. I feel bad because I told Wes like, yeah, we'll go see Amazing Spider-Man. We have such like different schedules. They were like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it with him at some point, so I have to go see it. So hopefully Wes hasn't been listening to the podcast for or he won't listen to this one.
Well, now it's really what I always say. It's like, that's why I tell people it's like I don't necessarily wait for somebody to go see a movie with. If it's like a couple of days, yeah, that's fine. But
yeah,
you gotta say if you don't set your schedule up to seeing movies, then I'm sorry.
Especially I'm going to keep on going this way, but like in San Francisco. But in San Francisco, a lot of movies rotate through the theaters pretty quickly there because a lot of the movie theaters
are
smaller. You have like 2 to 3 screens in a lot of them. So they have like this movie for like a week or 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah, and a lot of times some of those theaters only have them for one day and that's it. Like, because I remember seeing posters down there, be like, oh, okay, we should go see that tomorrow, and then you go there tomorrow, it's like, oh, it's not fucking there anymore.
Yeah, so I kind of anything I really want to see, I've been kind of seeing it within.
You just see it like that. If you got the time, go see it.
Yeah,
but yeah, like Captain America, nobody else I knew.
No complaints about Captain America.
That is damn good.
And that's not even kind of like, oh no, this is one of the best Marvel movies. This is like one of the best superhero movies made.
No, this is the pinnacle of Marvel Studios too.
Mm-hmm.
It outbeats.
And even kind of the humor they use in it kind of works. Like there's the part when he says like. Yeah, he says like, oh, check out. I don't remember. It was like some Marvin Gaye CD. He's like, check this out. I was like, okay, it goes on the list. You pull out the list. There's like Star Wars on there.
Yeah, there's like Nirvana on there, something like that. Just a bunch of these things just to write down.
Yeah, so I thought just like small little things like that, you know.
No, because that one, like the comedy worked. It wasn't too over the top, like an Iron Man where it's just filled with copious amount of comedy, or even like Thor where it just has a handful of really obnoxious characters in the background. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought, even though I really don't like Scarlett Johansson, and she seems to like be in every fucking movie nowadays, just about. That one she still wasn't. She was like almost like tolerable. I would say that.
Almost tolerable.
Yeah, you could almost tolerate her throughout that movie. You know what I mean? Like just enough that like it's like she's there, so it still annoys me, but she's at least not saying stupid shit, and at least like her acting's a little bit better. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you watch movies of her and she's like, God, her fucking acting's horrible. It's just like, and I think that makes it worse. Like, not only do you don't like her, then you see her doing bad acting, or, who knows, it could be bad directing, bad writing, but whatever. She's going to take the blame for it. Because I do think that some other woman could go in there and do a much better job. Mm-hmm. But, even with that, it's kind of like one of those ones, like, it's still a damn good movie.
Well, this is also, I think, one of the first Marvel ones that actually kind of go in and throw in some real emotional parts.
Uh-huh.
Because there's even that part when he goes to see Agent Carter, who's like an old lady. Like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden he's just talking to her, and then she has Alzheimer's all of a sudden.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that kind of thing right there. Like, oh shit, So it's just like it kind of hits you right there. There's a part where where like Falcon's leading the whole kind of like people with post-traumatic stress syndrome or whatever it was. So, PTS, yeah. So you had a lot of great moments like that.
No, yeah. I think that was the one. Because it's funny, because I hear this so many times. People always talk about, like, the Marvel movies are the good ones, and the DC ones need to learn from the Marvel. I'm like, I really hope that doesn't happen, because I think the DC ones have always been way better than the Marvel ones. Mm-hmm. But this is the one where I feel like it's more on par with the DC ones.
I think the thing is, I think here's what they mean. Whether you like it or not, when people say DC needs to learn from Marvel, I think Marvel, they've kind of planned it out better. DC seems to be just kind of jumping in there, where Marvel clearly planned it out and went in there and took their time, where DC is still, in a sense, they're kind of like making it up as they go along, which that can be fine, but I think the other thing is I think it's easier to present something kind of like, I think for the general public, it's easier to present something as a fun adventure movie rather than to present it as like
a serious story.
A serious story, and that's why I like all the DC films is when you see Superman, you're not seeing, when you saw Man of Steel, you weren't seeing a superhero movie. You're seeing a science fiction movie on an apocalyptic scale. Mm-hmm. And that's what I liked. And when you went to go see Batman, you weren't seeing so much of a superhero movie. Mm-hmm. Batman Begins a little bit, but you're more seeing kind of like a very large-scale detective story.
Uh-huh. And then it's like, the one thing I always felt about the Marvel movies is they really, like, that people would think this would be weird, but it's like they don't really feel like they're that far off from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Like, to me, they feel like they're pretty much on par with those, like, that kind of style.
The Marvel movies?
Uh-huh.
You think so?
Well, because a lot of them, they feel like they still keep a bit of the camp in there. And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You gotta have a little bit of that. But they always just feel like they got the color, they throw a lot of jokes into them. I'm not going to say Get America 2 because I don't think that one's like that. But I think a lot of them have like that. They got a lot of jokes still. Mm-hmm. They keep a lot of the color, which there's nothing wrong with that. I actually like the color. That's something I miss from, like, I think Batman needs more color in his life. Mm-hmm. And they just feel like they sort of, because the Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, I mean, that had a lot of the fun still in there. It had a lot of the adventure and whatnot, a little bit goofy. And that's kind of how sort of like, I mean, now, definitely the Marvel movies are serious, and they do it, a little bit better, but they really are pretty darn close to that. Mm-hmm. Where I feel the DC ones get to a more serious level, like these characters aren't just, like wham, pam, bow. Mm-hmm. They got something going, they got these stories that need to be told, these characters are tragic and all this stuff.
But I guess, granted, in one aspect, the way you can look at, like, the Marvel versus DC comparative is, when you think about the Marvel movies they've done so far, I think just the Marvel movies they've done.
These don't include DC, Spider-Man and X-Men and all the non-Marvel studios.
Well, I mean DC. I meant DC. When you look at all the DC movies, they've done characters that whether you read comics or not, I think majority of people are comfortable with. I think everybody knows who Batman is. Everybody knows who Superman is.
Yeah.
Then you get to like, well, what do we do with someone like Green Lantern? Let's make it more like...
I think he's really, if you go in the DC chain, he's really probably everybody probably knows who Wonder Woman is, but as far as like books and stories and how much stuff there is, Green Lantern has, I think, the third roster actually in that entire thing.
Yeah, and I think that it's one of those things they just kind of like, well, how would we go about this? And that's where they try to do more of the Marvel thing, and it did not pan out like they hoped they would.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of like, I think given like how long the character's been there, they're kind of lucky with Batman and Superman. Mm-hmm. But in Watchmen, there's no other way to go about Watchmen. You have to make Watchmen dark and gritty. But the only other big one they've had, I mean, Jonah Hex didn't do so good, but the only other big one they've had was Green Lantern. And that one was just kind of like they tried to mimic the Marvel thing. So
I guess that one always feels like it's sort of on them. I still think Green Lantern does a better job than most of the Marvel movies do.
You think so?
I like the Green Lantern one more than I like. I'd say most Marvel movies, not Captain America 2, but I definitely like it more than the Thor ones, and I definitely like it more than the Iron Man ones and stuff like that, and the Hulk ones. Not saying those are less, but I like. But the Green Lantern one, it's like. My one real complaint is that, like, he should just kind of get this, but this is a complaint with, like, 90% of movies, though. He should just get the ring and just right off the bat fucking, like, fly around the world once and go, oh, okay, I figured it out. And then just go to Oa and continue on from there. And even if the movie ended the same way it did, where maybe he has to go back to Earth and save it, that's, like, the end of the movie, that should be fine. But he shouldn't do the thing where he goes to Oa or, kind of have the whole, like, half an hour intro. But they all have this, though. It's like, you can't really say it's just this movie. But have that long build-up. And then he kind of goes, and then he goes back. I still just go like, how the fuck did they just let that guy have that ring? Just like just the Guardians looking at each other like, did he really just fucking like?
Can he fucking do that?
Yeah, I thought there was a rule against that. They're just flipping through like this book. I guess that wasn't written in there. Nobody ever fucking just left and went back and said they were done, but took the ring with them. Fuck. Well, can't change it now.
And then you got
this book went out of print many years ago.
At the same time, though, you got this giant. I think you got the giant parallax or whatever going to destroy Earth, and they're just kind of like, "Yo, all right, guys. So we do have this giant thing. we're really afraid of that we got to go against. It's going to Earth, so maybe we should just let the rookie guy take care of it. You know, the guy that pussed out after one day of training?
Well, here's the thing. It's his planet. He's supposed to be taking care of it. If he can't take care of it, this is pretty much his test.
Fuck him.
Oh, fuck, he won. Damn, he's coming back, too.
Hey! What the fuck's his name? Hal! You know?
Hey, guy! Hal Gardner?
No, but I think that the...
It's like the Green Lantern movies, I look at it, it's like, yes, it could be better, but I actually think for just being like, you know, just taking it as like it's the first Green Lantern movie ever made, so, you know, really it's not like it's a progressive, because you can look at Batman, and like, Batman really progresses. You know, you got the 66 movie, then you got the Tim Burton movie, and that's a huge jump right there in itself. And then you go like Batman Begins, and that's another huge jump. But like, it's not like Batman Begins came out and that was the only Batman movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It kind of had its way to work up there. And you could even take into account like the other Batman movies, like Mask of the Phantasm and stuff like that.
Well, one thing I'll say real quick though is the thing that I think, like I said, the reason why DC and why Superman and Batman worked is because these are characters we know for a while.
It's like America.
Yeah. Like now, Flash, a character like, say, I don't really know what I can imagine. If you were going to do Green Lantern, I imagine you would do it more like Man of Steel.
Yeah,
that's how I imagine you would do Green Lantern. Now here's the thing. I don't know how you're going to do Flash exactly. I'm sure you could probably figure something out because you couldn't treat it so much like Batman. You couldn't make it overly dark.
No, Flash is the one that would work very well, I think, in the Marvel style because Flash is the funny character. You know, and if you just made all his characters look just like how they're supposed to look, make the Rogues Gallery look just like that. Don't try to ground in reality. I think that's one thing that always kind of brings me down. It's pretty much my number one complaint with the Batman movies is don't have it too grounded in reality. Yeah, we live in real life. Why would we want our movies to be in real life? You know, it's not a fucking Woody Allen picture or something like that.
I still think the Batman movies were over the top enough. For the most part,
I guess to me that's my only.
Because you still, when you get down to
the first one, yes, and Batman Begins, but as it kind of goes on, it's just one of those ones like.
Even in Dark Knight, you still got a dude walking around with half his face burnt off. When
yeah, but I guess that's one of those ones like that. Still feels like that could be realistic. You know what I mean? Like where. The one thing I like is like I like characters like Poison Ivy and I like characters like Mr. Freeze and I like all these ones that kind of have powers and I think that's what makes it more interesting. So Batman's a regular guy fighting people with powers.
No, I get you.
You know, and that's just to me is I like the little bit of fantasy and sci-fi that Batman has in it. And if there's one complaint that Christopher Nolan ones just don't capture is they don't have that. And yes, I think you know by taking it out, it's easier to sell to regular folks. But you know, it's one of those ones like I take all three of the Christopher Nolan ones. It's just like well, any of the DCU ones are better than that. You know, and it's just because they captured Batman a little better. Don't get me wrong, I still love those movies, but I almost look at them like they're good. They're a good stepping stone, but they still haven't got to real Batman yet. They haven't got to the real Batman that like they need to get to. No, hopefully, the next Batman movie will finally start to get there. Mm-hmm.
I think that we might get close to that because now we're already starting off. When Ben Affleck comes in, we're already starting off with not an old Batman, but a Batman that kind of knows the ropes. Yeah. Been there, done that.
That's like what 45 years old by now or something.
Yeah, and that's not old really, but that is one of those things like that's probably an older Batman. They said they want to go in with
now
he's
like at
Batman.
Bond age, like where he should be.
Yeah, and I think that if you kind of go in with that, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with the villains if Batman's already there. So that means that for when, not if, when they introduce the Joker. They could just jump ahead. They could just jump. Joker's been locked up in Arkham for 8 years. He's just getting out. We can just do that. We don't have to go into who is this maniac that's like making people.
Well, yeah, because hopefully they just don't do that.
Smile as they die or whatever,
You know that works about once. Like Batman Begins is a perfect example of that. And I think because none of the other movies ever really had that, and it did kind of add some stuff to it and whatnot that just made a good story. But a lot of times it's just like some characters just like. I think Hal Jordan's one of those characters too. It's like who the fuck cares? Just like I always think that First Flight's such a perfect example. Like you understand everything that Hal Jordan is like in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes you understand everything he is before he's Green Lantern. It's like you know what I mean? It's like okay, he's a test pilot pretty much. He goes to the limits. He has no fear. You know, he likes Carol. Blah 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 blah. It's all covered before he even gets a fucking ring. You know. And it's just like that. That's all you need. It's not like how Jordan has like I mean you could throw in like his dad fucking got blown up in the plane and things like that.
And I love that. I love that line he has in a First Flight when after Sinestro more or less gives his bad guy speech like, and all you have to do is you have to work under me. And he's like, you had me up until that last part, and they just like jump in, start fighting right there.
Yeah. And it's just like that's you can capture that real quickly. it's sort of like I was like Spider-Man, and then like that's the thing too. Is like you look at the Amazing Spider-Man 1. That's a perfect example of a movie that if there wasn't any Spider-Man movies prior to that would be great, but by having that fucking hour of nothing fucking happening in it, just like all this stuff that everybody knows because they made so many cartoons and so many movies and so much comics and all that stuff prior to that, and just Spider-Man just always feels like. If you don't know like the basis of who Spider-Man is, it's like you really haven't been paying attention to the U.S. in the last while.
Yeah, I know.
Him and Superman's I suppose once. You don't need to know all the characters to him and stuff, but just the kind of like the sum up Spider-Man in like 3 sentences. Mm-hmm. You should be able to go like, okay, yeah, he was a guy that was bitten by a radioactive spider. His Uncle Ben fucking died, and then he decides to fight crime. So, simple as that. You can fucking. It's well, we have all this stuff. It's like, you can make these fantastic montages that could explain everything so quick. You could explain it in like under 5 minutes instead of like wasting an hour.
Yeah. They like to take their time.
I know. Well, I think it's like, I think a lot of producers go like, people are fucking retarded. Like, don't you understand this? Like, you get it, of course, but you're not fucking retarded. The regular Joe out there, their brain is just not fucking working right. They have filled it with copious amounts of beer and cigarettes and bad fucking food for you.
Look, we're fucking smart. The average
Joe,
Joe,
we don't take a beer and pour it on an Oreo, dip it in butter, and then eat it.
We have a hot tub filled with cocaine. You have to be smart in order to have that. Not the average Joe doesn't have that, trust me.
So that's the only reason I can assume why they do those long intros like that. Is that somebody once said, hey, I fucking like those long intros. So they said, okay, one guy likes it. That must mean it's good. And then they just must see it. I think they just really think that they're still... You really have to slowly hold people's hands to explain these characters to them. It's just like, the concept of superpowers is hard to get across. And
well, even Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'll say this. Like, I like that movie. I appreciate what it's trying to do. It wasn't perfect, but it's one of those things like... I think they're trying too hard to rub in their face. Like, look how much we care about the fucking comic books. Because, well, maybe it's part of the marketing team's problem. Because they marketed the shit out of Sinister Six and Rhino. And
yeah, because I thought the whole time like fucking Rhino's gonna be right up there the whole fucking movie. He's gonna be there. Like
that would have been more of like really cool if it was like a little. And I figured as much because I read like an interview with Paul Giamatti somewhere. Where he's like, yeah, I'm in the movie just for a little bit. So I'm like, oh, it's probably just setting us up. But the whole Rhino thing and then Sinister Six, they're advertising Sinister Six stuff, hinting at it in the trailer. Like, that's more of a, you go to the movie, like, oh shit, Sinister Six.
They should have put that should have been like
that
the after credits section where it's just like, oh my god, they're walking through the halls and you see all the Sinister Six weapons and all this stuff.
And even during the ending credits, they showed like, when they're playing that Alicia Keys song, they're showing like the, like hologram versions of like Sinister Six equipment. You saw like the Vulture wings, the Doc Ock arms, like they weren't even in the fucking movie. We just walked past them in the room. That's as much as it was. Why, so it was kind of like, and then they're also, I mean it's obvious. Felicia, who had 3 lines, who is Harry Osborn's assistant, is gonna become Black Cat.
Yeah.
So that's fine, but. And they're sort of trying to do this whole universe building with Spider-Man, but I think this is all stuff that could have been showed within like a number of like 2 movies rather than 1. And then like Electro, who I really think that in every Spider-Man movie, they kind of want you to feel bad for the bad guy. Harry, I get. But Electro, it's like he could have. We don't need to go through this whole like where he's pretending he's acting like
tragic, poor nerd that can't fucking talk to people and stuff like that.
We don't need to do that. We don't even need to do because he was like almost like Jim Carrey in like Batman Forever. Yeah, you could have almost done.
He fucking goes home and he's fucking beating up Spider-Man pictures. Well, I fucking love you, Spider-Man. You're the only one to talk to me. Oh.
Like director's cut by Mark Webb. He's going to the producers. Well, that's fucking true, man.
He had like the 360 beat off fucking room of like Spider-Man pictures in every fucking corner.
We had like the mirror, so it looks like he had like Spider-Man's face on a mirror facing him, so it looked like he was having a conversation with Spider-Man
while beating up.
Like Mark Webb, so like
he's like, I'll fucking get you too. I got another hand here. I'll help you out, Spider-Man. I got you.
Like, he doesn't remember my name, So I guess if he had his beat off buddy, didn't remember his name. I guess he'd be kind of pissed off. Makes sense, But there was the whole thing like It's like, I understand you're trying to like go with the whole sympathy thing, but at the same time, every fucking Spider-Man movie does that. After a while, you can say, fuck it, he's an asshole. Like he has been I don't think he was ever meant to be a understandable character. I think Electro was always just some asshole. And what you could have done, I'm not trying to tell him how to run his shit, you know, because, I mean, Mark Webb's a great director. I love 500 Days of Summer. But it could have just opened up with, like, all right, Electro, who the fuck's this guy? Like, oh, well, we've kept him in this test tube. He got into an accident, like, 8 years back. We've been using the power-up, like, Oscorp or whatever for the last couple years. And then, so when he busts out, it's
summed up in under 5 minutes once again.
It's like, all right, I mean, we kind of have our complaints about, like, you know, Dark Knight Rises, but Bane. Who's Bane? Oh, he's this guy that fucking broke out. And he escaped. Oh, no, he didn't actually escape. It was Talia. All right, cool. I got that out of the way.
Yeah.
That was so quick. That's all we needed. Now, we don't need to have, like, 30 minutes of this build-up. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. I'm going to go home and jerk off to Spider-Man. Oh, shit, I'm falling in the water, you know, so.
Looks like Gwen Stacy. You want to come home and jerk off with me? I don't have a penis. Oh. It's my birthday. I'm going to go home and jerk off on Spider-Man.
I really wish that was the fucking director's job. Mark's like, it stays in the fucking picture.
It just pauses the elevator. They just looks over. It's like, what do you do then? I'm a fucking loser. Nobody tells me anything. All I know is how to fucking run fucking electronics. They stole my ideas here. Well, why did it? Well, they caught me beating off on it when I was done making it. Just still just pauses like, this is my exit. Okay, it's my birthday! I'm gonna go jerk off on Yeah, guy, you're gonna go home and jerk off on Spider-Man.
Gwen calls me like, do you not believe this fucking nerd I just met? He wants to go home and jerk off on you. I know we're not talking at the moment, but I said
I really had to call you for this.
You might have a new supervillain running around like chasing you, trying to jerk off on you. Yeah. This guy is supervillain material, right? He's waiting to just pop, so literal or blow, however you look at it. So.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's his birthday. You should get him something.
Just some guy, like just some fucking guy chases Spider-Man.
It's my birthday!
With his dick in his hand, like trying to jerk off onto him.
Spider-Man swings away, he fucking shoots a wire, swings on it from his penis. My birthday!
Chasing him.
You're the other one who remembered my name. You gotta come to my birthday party.
He didn't come, but
I came.
They still have that weird kind of electro, like kill, ta 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 ta, kill, ta ta. What the fuck that was about, you know?
I know, it's like he's fucking making music out.
Yeah.
That just sounds like one of those ones like, well, it's a black guy playing electro, so make him have some kind of hip-hoppity rap going on in the background.
That was a total producer thing on that part.
Yeah, you know, like, just producer, it sits up top of like the fucking 300th floor in his building and looks down like,
he looks
with binoculars, like, I see a black man, I must study him. From a very, very safe distance. Oh, look at that one down there. He's listening to a boombox. I understand the black man now. Philip!
Give me Mark
Go down to the first floor and talk to that black man. Learn all you can from him.
Well, what did he say? What did he say? Like, well, he was just buying a boombox from Circuit City. That's about it.
He was taking it home. He's going to give it to his son for his birthday.
I understand.
Life on the 300th floor. It's difficult. Watson, difficult.
No, but there is actually. I want to say this. This might be. I thought this is kind of funny, and if he doesn't listen to the show, I'll fucking say it. Apparently, my grandparents. While I was out of town, my grandparents visited, and my brother. They haven't been to the movies since the 1961. 1961, they haven't been to the movies.
They've been to the movies since 1961?
They haven't been to the movies in a movie theater since 1961.
That's like my grandpa. I remember one time. This one's really quick. This is what he said. It's like, the last time I went to the movies, I went and saw Son of Kong. And he's like, nobody told me you had to see the first one. And that was all he said.
That's pretty good right there. I guess it must have been harder to see a sequel back then because you didn't have a VHS. If you didn't catch
it, you were fucked.
Yeah, you didn't see because you didn't have a VHS.
Yeah, there's no VHS. The only thing you could do is if you're rich enough, you could go out and buy a print reel of it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they haven't been to a movie since 1961, I believe it was. And so
it's amazing when you really think about that, though. It's like that many years, you just don't like.
Just don't like.
Because I always think about back then too. It's like, sort of like, there's still, no matter what, there was like something to do.
So, my brother, I'm going to take you guys out. Let's go do something. He takes
First thing he does is, I've been seeing movies since 1961. There's like, well, let's go see this Amazing Spider-Man. Just a guy fucking beating up at the wall. He's just like, that's what movies have become? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Like chasing Spider-Man down the street, beating off, yeah.
Just like, this is the first movie he's seen in 50 years.
So, he took my grandparents to see this movie in 3D.
Just this giant penis like coming on screen. Fucking Jamie Foxx's penis just like shooting wads out 3D. The grandpa's like, I got some in my eye. Oh, it's not real. Thank Christ.
I just thought that was funny just because it's just kind of, I can only imagine.
Julian, close your mouth.
It's not snow. It's not snow.
You don't know where that's been.
But that was just really funny to me. I'm not trying to like be a dick. Like, what are you doing? But just like to not see a movie since that long, and then the first movie you go see in theaters is like something I know they're not gonna watch in their fucking free time. Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like once again they have a general idea who Spider-Man is, but yeah, it's a strange movie to go see of all those ones.
He said they would turn and look and she's like, what the fuck's going on every so often?
You know, something like Lincoln, something you would go see if like you haven't seen a movie in like a ton of times. That would be easy for anybody to comprehend.
I'm not talking shit on him. I think it's nice that you took him. I can only. I'm just trying to put my mind in there because that's not like skipping like. Oh, I missed out on the last few months.
I guess we keep forgetting. It's like, well, they've seen a lot of movies at home. Like
they have. Like,
it almost feels like conversations like he hasn't seen a movie since 1961. He was on a deserted island for 47 years or whatever.
Well, no, it's not. It's not like that. It's more like one of those things. Like, it's more like, how do I put this? Like, for instance, I know they've seen movies since then, but I know they're not going to go watch the next Superman or Batman movie or whatever. No. But on top of that, this right here, because this movie has so many weird things in it, it's not like, oh, what's this dubstep thing? When's that come out? It's a few years ago. It's not like catching up on a few months or a year. This is like a good handful of years of shit. Like, what the fuck is this? Where'd that come from?
Just a humongous generation gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, Spider-Man 2, it's like, I will say, the thing that was the really good thing about it, though, is it did have good, constant action.
Yeah, that was
because a lot of movies kind of fall prey to, like, not having enough action throughout it, and not strung easily about it. Yeah, it's like Jamie Foxx, that part could have definitely been shorter. And then Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man, they don't need to have that fight. Like, that's the other thing about, like, it seems like every Spider-Man story you watch, the whole point of Spider-Man's life is that he fucking fucks things up, and then, like, they can't talk to people, and the next thing you know, they have to get back together again. And then they get back together again lots of times, and then the next movie comes by and there's some other dilemma. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I liked about Amazing Spider-Man 1 is...
So maybe just Spider-Man and fucking Jamie Foxx just become a gay couple and everything will be better.
Whenever he beats off, just playing that, like, I feel it in me, electricity, like that song. Whenever he beats up, like, shit. Comes a little speaker thing that's stuck into the side of his head.
My spider sense is tingling.
Yeah. It was like, no, it was like a power gauge thing on the side of his head. That's what it was. But no, but like, well, even that's what I like about Amazing Spider-Man 1. They just got together. It didn't take 2 or 3 movies for them to get together. They just got back together. This one, they break up at the very beginning, and they have this weird on and off thing throughout.
It's like I keep seeing your dad. He's fucking everywhere we are. I look over. He's there. I'm taking a shit. He's fucking standing in front of me. I'm fucking you in the ass. You're standing right in front of me. I just can't take it anymore.
One time he appeared with no pants on. He was wearing a shirt and shoes though, so that was the weird thing.
That was the weird part too. He had boots on. It made it kind of seem. I don't know.
It was weird. Effort.
One time I opened the fucking shark card. He was standing there naked. All he had his legs spread out. And there was this weight tied up on his balls, and it was swinging back and forth. I just can't take it. I just can't be with you anymore. I just see him everywhere.
If only
you mean it's not because you're Spider-Man? Fuck no, it's not because of that. I gotta get this out of my mind. Last week there was a guy running at me with his penis. So now it's beating up, and now I'm illusioning people with their penis. There's just too much dick in my life.
So now it's not
What's
even,
dick
it's not even
a Spider-Man.
It's just
like, I don't know, but it's just, I feel if I get rid of you, maybe dick will go away.
Maybe the dick will go away. No, I'm thinking, and that's not even like just a Spider-Man thing, like, whoever gets near Gwen is haunted by, like, her ghost dad. So, next guy that dates Gwen, like, Gwen, we gotta break up. What is it? I don't know. Have you seen that show, Rescue Me? The guy from that show appears in front of me, fucking wearing nothing but boots and a shirt, no pants, nothing.
But he's got this weight tied between his balls.
Yeah, it's whenever I'm with you, I see this guy. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't even watch that show, but I know, you know.
Somebody had to explain it to me once. They saw it too.
So it's just one of those things. Like, apparently the guy had the hots for you too. So that's whoever likes her, just haunted by like ghost Dennis Leary.
Just hanging out, just looking at him, watching.
Yeah.
That's probably the only other thing that really kind of bothered me is, the trailer advertised fucking Rhino in it very heavily. Mm-hmm. They pretty much showed you all the Rhino scenes almost like in the trailer.
They did. Rhino looks fucking stupid in the movie. That's one thing.
And then when they fucking like show him, he's in it for 5 fucking minutes. Other than like his little, but before he's Rhino part in the beginning. And it's just one of those ones like, that would be totally fine if you didn't show that in the trailer, and I didn't know. It was like all of a sudden it was a surprise that Rhino was in it. That would have been the way to do it. But
like Sinister Six, yeah.
Yeah, but just don't advertise your fucking like endings in the fucking trailer.
And then plus you also had like, that was another thing. I mean, maybe that's not the movie. Maybe that's more just.
That's
marketing.
like putting fucking the Citizen Kane thing. You just explain what Redbud is in the fucking trailer.
Yeah. But the other thing about Rhino is, I mean, I'm not trying to be this guy, but I understand trying to make it mechanized. I know it'd be kind of hard to put a dude just in like Paul Giamatti in a spandex suit running down the street. I get that.
So just be like Jim Carrey and like Ace Ventura.
Yeah. But you could.
And Paul Giamatti's like, I gotta get out of this thing. Like starts pulling his way out of his ass. It's the only way to get out of the suit. He's gotta crap me out.
Forgot about that part. Yeah, but no, he. I guess it's one of those things. Like, I understand that making him a robot. I get that, but that robot design.
But the robot, it
looks fucking stupid.
And then I didn't like how like his fucking head was like right in the fucking like.
And that looked kind of like. It almost looked like kind of like. I mean, look, the fact they make that thing, good for them. I'm sure it took a lot of work and a lot of effort.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not trying to be like some guy.
Yeah, how much time I put into that, and you're fucking bitching about it.
Like, I've seen that drunk Batman shit, but it's one of those things. Like, looking at that though, like. The Rhino suit didn't look that good. It looked fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It looked fucking dumb to me. And it had these little T-Rex arms out when it was shooting the machine gun. I just imagine having these big giant. I understand making him robot, but making like, give him these big old fucking mitts. Give him big muscular arms. You know what I mean?
Really,
I don't see why.
Just give him a fucking Juggernaut costume if it happens to look like a Rhino suit. That's all it's got to be. I think the mech thing was one. It was too big. That seems like a minor complaint. It's just a little too big there, but like. I don't know. It's just like he should be able to fit in it. It should just make him like just a little bit bigger. I mean, I know it's Paul Giamatti, so it's kind of like weird fucking choice for Rhino once again. But and I guess that's the only way you can make Paul Giamatti, maybe because he's such a small guy, anyways, to make him bigger. Well, just put him in a really fucking.
They're definitely pulling from Ultimate Spider-Man right there because Ultimate Spider-Man, it's a guy.
Rhino's Paul Giamatti.
Well, he's a smaller guy. He's a smaller bald guy in a robot suit.
Oh, okay. Because I'm always used to him being just.
But the suit
big,
actually,
huge.
the suit actually looked. Like fucking Rhino. It actually had these big muscular arms, kind of walked up straight, looked more humanoid. This looked kind of like, because when it was walking, it looked almost kind of like T-Rex arms firing with machine guns down the street.
I don't feel like the missiles and all that stuff are necessary. It should just be a super strength suit. Like,
yeah.
That's just too much.
I thought the Rhino suit was fucking dumb. Maybe another draft will change it and suddenly, oh yeah, by the way, he got hit in the head. He doesn't have this Russian accent anymore.
Yeah. If he had that, I don't remember that ever. He never had that in the cartoon show.
I remember him being kind of, he sounded more like a guy from the Bronx.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, being more of kind of like, fuck you, I'm going to steal this fucking bank. He kind of sounded more that kind of vibe.
Oh, got a Rhino suit on.
Pretty much just Paul Giamatti playing Paul Giamatti would have been fine.
Yeah, just like, I don't know.
A pissed off Paul Giamatti. That's all you had to do.
I would still say overall it's still a good Spider-Man
Still
movie.
Good, yeah.
It has just kind of like weird small problems in it. Like, probably nobody would care too much if you didn't know a ton about Spider-Man, you probably wouldn't care that much. I think these are all like kind of like just somebody would be like, they seem like minor complaints, but I don't know. I just feel it could be a little bit better.
I'll say this: they never show like Spider-Man because I mean, I want to share some of my personal experiences living because here we're not. I'm gonna tie this around, but living here you don't really. We have some homeless people in town. But you don't really have the level of homeless.
Well, yeah, because San Francisco, they sent all the homeless people from New York and all that stuff there. That's why there's so many of them. Yeah.
So that's one of those things like South Park made a whole joke about that episode, about that whole situation.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised we never see Spider-Man having to pull a homeless guy off somebody. It's always a supervillain. You never see Spider-Man have, because if it's that bad in San Francisco, I know it's going to be bad in New York. So
New York, that's where they sent them. They took all the homeless, they put them on a bus, and they sent them to San Francisco.
I'm sure more come.
Yeah, I'm sure more have come back, but yeah.
But it was one of those things like, I'm surprised they never have like fucking Spider-Man like kicking the shit out of a homeless guy at some point in the comics. That would have to happen. How many fucking YouTube videos you see of like crazy fucking homeless people attacking on a train, or like just someone in Florida like tweaking out on meth or some shit like that?
Well, that's one thing you don't see a lot of times in superheroes. You don't see them like.
I guess like
they almost used to do it back in the day. Is that like they just fight regular crime, but they don't really do. Nowadays, it's always like superheroes versus supervillains. Very rarely do you ever see them fight regular crime anymore.
Like Spider-Man sees like a mugging going on. He's like, "Fuck you." He doesn't shoot electricity. He's not jerking off on you. I don't care.
Yeah, he's not threatening the whole city now.
Yeah.
Just a couple people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually got a homeless troll boy tried to start a fight with me a few weeks back.
Yeah, homeless people do that.
I never really had that before. Does that ever happen to you? Like homeless people trying to start a fight with you?
Yeah, a homeless person like kicked me once.
Really?
Yeah, he kept like I was walking down like through like, and this was in the business district of San Francisco, so as rich as you fucking can get it. And this homeless
like Market Street or
no, not Market Street. That's not the business district. Over from that part.
Oh, okay. Not Union Square or really?
No, over. But you'd go past Union Square to get to it, but like over where they have all like the corporate buildings and all that stuff. I mean, it's right next to it, but it's still like 10 blocks away, I guess. So
I think I have an idea what you're talking about.
I mean, it's close, but not that area.
I kind of follow my main path. And
yeah, because like when I think of Market and Union Square, that's where all the stores are. I'm talking about like where all like the corporate businesses are and whatnot.
Okay.
Like the richest fucking, like sort of like the Wall Street of fucking San Francisco. Over there, I was walking with this girl named Danielle, and all of a sudden this homeless guy comes out and he like almost like flies up and does this kick, and it was just like, it was in like slow motion, just like hits me like in the chest. And then he starts fucking running away, like, and he sits there like, get up! And he's like, get away from me! And he like fucking kicked and then kept running. And like, it was that moment where you just fucking pause and you're like, the fuck just happened? And then like seconds later, you're like, oh, fucking kick that homeless guy's ass. But like, by the time he was gone, you just realized what happened. It just came out like nowhere. And it was just like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, like...
It was just out of nowhere, he just fucking, oh my word! And then like kicks and then starts running back the other direction, just like, he was like, was I like invading his territory or something? Like, what the hell happened? This was like his only thing. He's like, well, I kick people and run.
He's like, I don't like Axl Rose.
Yeah, I kicked
at the time you had the Axl Rose look going on.
Yeah. And I was gonna keep running, and then but like later you're like, fucking hobo, I would fucking mess that guy up.
You get that afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, you get that thing like you're like, if there was like 10 seconds. If I realized 10 seconds earlier what happened.
That kind of something, not that level, but
fucking
I was
chasing down a hobo, like, get back, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass.
There's one time, because basically my job is I pretty much I rent bikes to people. That's my job. And there's like different there's different spots we have to go to. There's one spot I was renting bikes at, and this is around Fisherman's Wharf. And there's this one guy sitting there. And I call him a homeless troll boy. I call him homeless because he's homeless. I call him a troll because he's a hideous looking motherfucker. And I call him a boy because he was kind of smaller. And a man doesn't sit there holding a sign saying anything helps with a puppy dog face on.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had somewhat of a beard going at the same time, like a little bit. But it's like one of those, it's like this weird fucking beard. This weird, like, not a full beard, but not even
like grow.
Not even a scruff. It was just kind of like weird, like
patches
of just hair, just popping out. And no curl, just little weird, like whiskers, I guess,
Huh.
So anyway, this guy's sitting there for like 4 or 5 hours. I'm just working the spot trying to like sell bikes to people. And at some point, the guy walks up to me, says, "Hey man, are you from around here or something?" Like, "Oh, I just moved here a little bit ago." You're from Castro. I get these trying to insult me. I'm like, "No, I'm not from Castro."
He's like, you want to go fuck me in like the glory hole back there?
I got this room with like Spider-Man's picture on the mirror that I like to jerk off onto, So, no, we play this electro song, this electricity while I do it. Yeah, no, I'm like, no, I'm just, I'm pretty new to town. Like, okay, well, I just want to let you know, I've been in town, I'm a native here. I lived here for a while, and I don't appreciate you pacing back and forth and selling bikes on my, like when I've been here.
It just sounds like a fucking Native American walks up to you like, "Sir, I do not appreciate you setting up a settlement here on my land."
I'm just like,
and you're like, I just fucking work here.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I didn't put this bikes here. It's not.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm just trying to do my thing here. And the guy, he's like, you're fucking begging. The guy's holding a sign that says anything helps. He walks around with a wooden sword too, wooden katana.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's all like,
this is to ward off pigeons.
The pigeons took my land. You know, they took my daughter singing squall. You know, so
The pigeons think I'm in great numbers.
no, this guy. Nobody's gonna know who I'm talking about, but he looked kind of like Wayland.
Huh.
Or Leland. Was that his name? Leland? That one guy in high school?
Kylan?
He looked like him.
Wayland, did you?
Not Waylon Jennings. I don't know. Yeah, it looked like Kylan. He looked like that guy, basically.
Maybe it was because nobody's seen him in a long time.
Maybe it was, but no. But anyway, then he said like, "Don't fuck with me, man. Don't fuck with me."
Did he whip out his fucking katana?
He was holding it in his hand. He wasn't pointing at me. Don't fuck with it. And I
Don't
turned.
you just love when people are threatening you with fucking like a blunt object too?
I was like, this guy's so. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I'm not one of those macho guys. Like, let's fucking go, hobo. Let's fucking go. I'm not one of those guys.
Kick him with a thing, pick up a bike. He's like, I'm gonna go fucking fighting Viper style on your ass.
But when that kind of thing happens, it's kind of hard. When you get shit from like someone like that, it's just like, motherfucker, you know. You just can't help but just get this burning like fucking. It's kind of amazing like living in the city. I'm not saying. Now here's the thing. It kind of like I know there are homeless people out there that are trying to get by. But
it just takes a couple homeless people to be fucking assholes and make it.
And that's unfortunately the last 4 I somewhat have an encounter with or had a long enough time to observe. It's kind of one of those things like that ruins it for you. There's one guy that asked for like, hey man, can I have? He wasn't like totally. He didn't look strung out or nothing. But I thought maybe this guy had somewhere he had to be. He was waiting by the bus stop. He's like, hey man, do you have? And I didn't take the bus yet, so I didn't know how much the bus usually costs. He says, do you have like $3.50 on you or something? Like, no, but I got like some scattered change. Here's like $1.15. I hope that helps. Then he just gives you this look like,
cheap fuck.
Just kind of doesn't even look at me. Just like, just raises his hand, just that, you know, just that kind of like passive, like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
give me my fucking change back.
Yeah. So like when that kind of shit happens, and then like, you know, it's like one of those things like, you just, I feel like an asshole because I know there are homeless people trying to get by and trying to like make their life better, and there are some people that just like it's got to seem hopeless. But when that kind of thing happens, it's just like, fuck, dude. You know. What the fuck can I do?
Well, it's like after a while, San Francisco, you just get to this point where you just become, you almost become kind of like this like douchebag, but you really like, you just don't even like pay attention to them, like they almost don't exist. And you kind of have to do that because they constantly ask.
Well, it's even one of those things like, I mean, I understand.
It's like, you know, because you just really, you realize you're like, there's no way I can give money to these people. It's just like, you can't just give money to every single people every single day.
Well, on Market Street, there was like some, like right at the very end of Market Street, right on Embarcadero, there was like some kind of like Red Bull BMX kind of thing going on.
Again?
So there's a lot of people, yeah. So there's a lot of people that
There's a lot of Red Bull stuff happens down there.
Yeah, well, they have like the Red Bull girls walk around with backpacks, hand out Red Bulls sometimes.
Nice. You go get free drinks.
Yeah, free drinks, you know, and like, you know, diabetes.
Check it out, free drinks. Yeah.
But,
they actually said that diabetes is not caused by sugar nowadays.
it's not. What the fuck? Say, what's they make science? Make up your fucking mind.
Yeah, I just read that on there. They said, nope, it has nothing to do with sugar.
Fuck, whatever. Now I'm gonna find out.
Fuck it, then I'm drinking as much sugar as possible. Nobody can tell me anything.
Is it gonna be something? Well, it's not actually sugar. It's this thing that kind of goes. This other thing that's in all these sugary drinks or whatever. Or like water actually causes cancer now. How about that? We're not supposed to drink water anymore. I don't fucking know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, no. So pretty much they have like, and the thing about whenever like some event happens down there, there always brings out a lot more people, and there's like, it's like some people. It's like, why are you pushing? I remember this is like one of the things about the city because I'm back in town, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad I moved, and I do like this town I'm from. But there's a certain, and despite you know certain things with this town, like its politics and maybe some of the people. It generally does have a certain charm to it. Mm-hmm. There is a charm to this town. Because when a few days before I came up here, I don't understand why people are trying to route them up. There's like a big circle of like just a bunch of homeless guys and vagrants, like people drinking booze right there on this like on the sidewalk, and like some like college chicks like this is a example of like human rights violation. It's just like Jesus fucking.
And you know, Christ. It's like you know this girl comes from like some fucking huge ass mansion in Los Angeles or New York. And she's like, I'm a rich girl, but I'm out doing peace. That's one thing I just can't stand. People in college just piss me off a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. It's just you get these people that are just so like they think. It's like,
do you realize most of these guys are probably gonna try and rape you the second they get along with you?
You know, and they feel like I can help the world, but it's like they have no outstanding. It's like, but they're burb homes of fucking. $1 million houses and whatnot, and daddy pays for everything, and they just don't get it.
And I'm not trying to be like, fuck the homeless, nor am I saying like, oh, you like fuck people who want to change the world. I'm not saying that. I just don't like that blind
Well,
thing.
I have no problem with people that want to change the world, but if you can't actually do it, then don't fucking do it. That's how I always kind of feel.
Well, my thing is, I mean, I understand you want to try and help. Maybe there's other ways to go about it, but I guess the whole thing of just kind of going in there saying, no, you're the victim. You're like a friend of mine, a guy I made friends with, who I work with. Some homeless guy tried to steal his bike. Mm-hmm. He tackled the guy, like submitted the guy. The guy was fighting back. He like punched him, kicked him, then walked away with his bike. And then some lady who witnessed the thing ran up. He's homeless. You can't do this to him. He's like, he tried to steal his fucking bike. That's his means of getting to work.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, look, I mean, I'm not saying fuck the homeless or anything, but this took a dark turn.
Literally, like fuck the homeless. I always feel like people become homeless because they can do something about it.
There's some people who are kind of like born. I mean, I believe there's certain people that are kind of like born ice skating uphill to a certain extent. You know what I mean? They're kind of like how else are they going to get up there? But
I always feel it's like, you know what?
There are some
see people that get hired. It may not be the job you want, but it's not like you can't get something.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. I mean,
I feel no matter what, mostly all homeless people they made themselves homeless. When you break it down, no matter what, that was they did it to themselves.
That majority, yeah. But here's the thing.
Nobody just because I mean, like unless it's back in the ancient times, it's like nobody just becomes homeless, and it's like that kind of thing where it's like, oh, I'm stuck here in San Francisco. Fucking walk. How do you think people got across the U.S. in the beginning? They walked. How do you think people got anywhere in the beginning from Pangea? They walked. What's saying you can't walk?
This took a dark turn from like Electro trying to beat off on Spider-Man to like homeless. The real like problems with San Francisco. No, but like I'm just saying like it's one of those things like I'm not even saying like oh fuck all because I know there are people that are trying to get by and trying to like I believe there's a Rucker Hauer from Hobo the Shotgun out there who's trying to
who's trying to do good.
I believe that exists and
they're sort of like the Robin Williams homeless from like Fisher King.
Yeah, I believe it exists.
That could just be all in movies and make believe, but I
believe it exists, but it just pisses me off. I know the negative ones that kind of make it harder for everybody else.
Yeah,
the bad examples that make it hard for everybody else.
Exactly. Well, they always say that like a lot of those homeless people actually make more money than most people do in real life.
A lot of them just
they make more than somebody makes doing minimum wage jobs.
Mm-hmm. Well, it pisses me off. You'll see someone just sitting there, just kind of like they don't even look that mangled up or anything. Just have like a sign like testing karma or testing or like just like fuck off, dude.
Yeah, you get those people. I mean, well, I always say too, if you're homeless, if you're gonna beg for money, always provide some form of entertainment. Doesn't got to be the best. I don't care if you have to get out there and bang on the back of a trash can. Do something. And that's how I feel. Like, nobody should work for nothing. You gotta fucking work for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like...
Well, it's kind of like, after that whole...
I don't care. If I can get out there and dance, do something.
After that whole, like, thing I had with that one homeless guy, there's almost this kind of like this... almost like we need to have like secret cops for home. Like they keep it. They keep.
You mean like in Colombia, where like
not
midnight,
that
they drive around at night and take.
I'm thinking like they not like that. Not like
that's a good fucking movie, like grindhouse movie, like waiting to be made.
Not talking like attack and kill. And I'm just talking about like have like secret cops that go in there. They're kind of like you don't know that they're. They keep track of like, okay, is this guy harassing people?
Well,
this guy's if he's just begging for change.
They tranquilize them, throw them on the ground, fucking put a tag on their ear.
Yeah, they just
and then wake them back up and let them go back out into the wild of San Francisco.
Like, oh wow, that must have been some fucking rad shit I took last night. Yeah, no, but like, okay,
they all got these tracking collars on.
Why not? And it's one of those things like you don't like, and you keep track of him. It's not like okay, he's begging for change, whatever. Oh, he's fucking attacking people if they don't give him change. Okay, send in the Blade Runner, So it's like Blade Runner with homeless people.
Yeah, goes in there, takes them out, keeps them in line.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things like, not saying like to get rid of all homeless people, but like just one of those things kind of okay, just if you're begging for change, just like loitering around, fine. But the second you start getting at people's shit and attacking them, that's like, all right, fuck you, dude. And at the end, I'm not really saying like, oh, if you're homeless, fuck you, because I know there are people that are trying hard to work, and I've kind of met some that were actually cool. But it's more like, for instance, what really pisses me off when I see like some guy who's like in his early 20s to mid 20s.
He's totally capable of working. He's no different than me or you.
And he's not strung out or anything. Just some drifter kid that like doesn't want. Yeah,
the gutter punks that you see like in San Francisco.
The gutter punk. That's what the homeless troll boy was. He was a gutter punk.
Yeah, you see a lot of those guys, and it's like they make themselves homeless. And it's like they do it by choosing like homeless is cool, man.
Yeah.
Dad doesn't tell me I have to work.
Mm-hmm.
You get those guys, and it's just like God. That just makes it like worse. It's just like you're totally capable. Mm-hmm. You know, they probably live off their like buddy's couch or something like that.
And they go
just
down
total losers.
They go down to Market Street or the Wharf and just kind of beg there for the day, and they go back and hit a few bars at night and go back, crash on a couch, rinse, repeat.
You know, it's just what they do. But yeah, I don't know. There is just sort of that kind of hassle and dilemma of having to have all that homeless people there. That
I mean, I like it so far. I've never had a whole lot of time to do stuff. I've just been working a lot. But aside from reading a lot of comics when I can.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only downfall is there's not like... There's a lot of cool... San Francisco, the cool thing is just walking around. I think that's like the coolest part. It sounds like it's not that exciting, but there really isn't too much else than just to walk around and look at shit. Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of fun.
I mean, I'm still kind of like getting the vibe of the city, and I made like a few new friends, but I haven't really had a whole lot of time to hang out with them. I got like... My friends Wes and Grant down there. So
what part does Grant live at?
He lives like roughly around the Mission. He lives around the Mission.
So he's pretty far from you then.
Yeah, and we'll usually meet up somewhere in the middle, like Japantown or around there or something like that. So
Japantown's really the best part of San Francisco by far. I think that's the coolest section.
I actually went to. I haven't had really because I know that like the places like San Francisco is a big thing for like hipsters. I haven't really ran into. I've seen them. I haven't had any run-ins with any negative run-ins with hipsters. I ran in with one.
They probably all live
Mission, if I had to guess.
No, well,
I was told the Mission.
Probably there's a lot in the Mission, but I was gonna say Haight-Ashbury area.
Yeah,
if I had to guess, that's probably where a lot of the hipsters are at. Is there, and then maybe the richer ones are probably in Market area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot in Haight-Ashbury. I actually like Haight-Ashbury. That's pretty cool. But that is also the Panhandle, one of those situations where more like, leave me the fuck alone, you know?
Yeah, that one's just like, you go down there for like Amoeba Music and maybe Escape from New York Pizza, but other than that...
And Comics Experience.
Is that down there?
There's a really awesome comic shop.
I don't remember that one. I remember there was one on Market Street. I want to say it's on Market Street. That's about the only one I actually remember.
There's a bunch of comic shops down there.
Yeah, it probably is. Back in the day, it was before, like, you know, that's where you, like, pull out a phone book and look for them.
Yeah, I guess we do live in this magical age.
Yeah, where you can just pull out your phone and look for them, and that's, like, how you find it. Like, I just came across one because I walked
just talking to your phone, like, robot, find me comics! Like,
find me comics, now!
Yeah. You do kind of live in this age where it's so much easier. Like, it's so much easy. Like, I cannot imagine. I mean, I sound like such a pussy saying this, but it'd be so much harder to figure out where to go now without a phone. Just like, I
back in the day, we have how like lost we'd get like when we drive places because we didn't have like that kind of modern technology.
And we're already bad with direction as is.
As is.
Yeah.
Well, it really starts. My phone like crapped out on me like in the last like week and a half ago, and it's just one of those ones where it's just like
I saw the old yellow slide.
Yeah, I had to use that one. That's why like my texts look all like fucking retarded because it's got no like. It's hard to do periods and commas and all that stuff, and it's a pain in the ass, so it just, like, looks like one block of sentences. But, yeah, it's just a pain in the ass kind of without it. And you realize, you're like, I can't really look up stuff on the internet. Can't check my fucking emails. Can't do this. Can't do that. It's horrible.
Have you, it's your phone break or problems?
I'm not too sure what exactly it is. I think it's my battery died, so I bought one on Amazon for, like, $7. I'm like, if that's not the case, then I guess I have to go get a new one.
Oh, okay.
Good thing I backed up all like my like notes on there first. That was like the key thing. It was like I write a lot of stuff down there. I stopped carrying around a notepad after I got that because it was just like whip it out, write down my ideas just on the fly. But hey, you do realize that you're totally screwed without like kind of having a phone nowadays. Just like
and even part of me like I mean I feel so shitty because I realize not everybody has one, but part of me can't help feel like sometimes people come up to you and ask you when you're working. Hey, where do I find this at? Where do I find that at? And I try and help them out as best I can, as nice as I can. But part of me thinks like, you don't have a fucking phone?
Yeah, there's that thing. It's just like, well, who the fuck asks for directions nowadays? Don't you just type that in?
At the same time, though, I mean, I guess not everybody would have one, but I assume that if you have enough money to come to San Francisco on a vacation, you probably have enough.
Well, I will say this. Really, anybody who's not a hobo probably has a phone. And even hobos have phones sometimes.
There's one hobo I saw sitting there with a begging sign, and then he pulled out when no one was looking. Thought no one was looking, I saw. Pulled out a fucking smartphone, flipped through it, and clicked it back and put in. Like, I said like 4 or 5, witness, experiences with, like, homeless people like that. Like, the ones I already mentioned, that guy. And there's one guy, actually, he was in front of a coffee shop begging for change, and I felt bad because he looked like he was really haggard. I'm like... I'm not going to give him change because I don't really know what he's going to do with it. But you know what? I'm going to buy him some food. So I went in there, and I'm going to eat my food first, though. I'm in, and I'm looking at him through the window.
Eat after.
No, not that. I'm just like, I don't want it. I was just hungry. So I was just sitting there eating.
Master of the house eats first.
Don't even take it there. No, I'm just hungry. And then as I'm sitting there, I noticed everybody that goes in there, went out there to give this guy, everybody that gave this guy food, he'd be like, oh, thank you. He'd start to chew it and spit it out and start feed it to the pigeons.
huh.
I was like,
no.
fuck them.
Those bitches can find food on their own.
My bagel. I'm keeping this bagel now. Mine.
Yeah.
Can't help them. No.
I don't know.
So
it's one of those ones.
It does jade you. It does make you feel like
you literally do get to a point in San Francisco where you just walk past them and it's like they don't exist. And it sounds like when you say it on paper or you just say it out loud, it sounds horrible, but it's just like sort of like what you have to do. And it's because a lot of times I was like those hobos. It's just like we're like in the same boat, me and you. It's just like I just thought out things a little bit better than you did, but we probably have about the same amount of money.
My thing is like I feel there's some.
It's not like I'm like Mr. Wall Street walking down the street. Mm-hmm. I'm just a regular Joe.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the same time though, it's more of one of those things like, I part of me feels a little bad because I'm wondering is this guy like the percentage of like the guy who's actually trying to get by and trying to like save up to get something to start up working? Mm-hmm. Is he Rugger Howard? Yeah,
is he trying to just get a lawnmower?
Yeah. So
make a living.
Is he that, or is he just another guy who's just kind of what we all assume they are?
Yeah, guy lives on his buddy's couch and he goes up to make a couple extra bucks to get pizza and beer and keeps doing that every single day.
Yeah.
Because you could do that. You could sit out in San Francisco. If you sat out there for 4 hours every single day, you'd probably walk away with $50 plus each time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Easily. If not more sometimes. Mm-hmm. So and I think that's what a lot of those guys do is like, so they're walking, some of those guys probably walk away, especially if you sat down there close to Fisherman's Wharf, those guys probably walk away with like a couple $100 a day. Yeah. They probably make more than you make each a day. Yeah. They're not even working.
Mm-hmm. So. And because you got people who aren't really, I mean, at first I wasn't used to it. You get used to it.
We get 2 or 3 people like, oh, a hobo, here you go, have some extra change,
Yeah. Because I could actually say I've done that when I was in other cities or whatever. And
yeah, because you don't know, but then after...
But you live here for a while, you don't really know, you know what I mean?
Nobody fucking asked you for money. The only time I remember being like in high school and like there's this one guy, even though he wasn't a hobo, but this like black guy came up to us, and this is the time when they're like black people just didn't exist in Tuolumne County whatsoever. Like literally did not exist. It was something you only saw in movies and on TV. And he comes up to me, he's like, hey guys, what's going on? Just, you guys got a couple bucks? I just need to get the hell out of this town. And we gave him like fucking like $1.50 in change because he seemed like a nice fella. He was making logical sense to me. We just walked out a round table or something like that.
And I get that, every so often, that. I mean, I get that.
But that makes more sense to me because he's not sitting there begging; he was just asking.
Yeah. And if you ask and when I say no, that's fine. But it's when they continue to hang around and ask and try and
yeah, and it's just kind of like one of those ones like, dude, you're not on my fucking payroll. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I guess it's that thing too. It's just like when it really breaks down to it, it's like I really don't have money. You have money. You probably actually have more money than I do in that fucking tin can of yours. Mm-hmm. So you figure it out. Mm-hmm. Do something for a living. Go get a job. In San Francisco, they hand out jobs pretty easily there. Yeah. I'm not saying they're necessarily jobs you want, but you can get a job. That's the whole point. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah,
I like it so far, but I'm kind of glad to be back home for a few days.
Well, the one thing that's nice, it's like, because like, I remember from when I lived down in San Francisco, it's like, as I said, my favorite part was the walking around stuff. Funny thing about that, though, is the only people that go walking around with me was foreign people. Americans were fucking lazy, I guess. That's all I could assume from that note.
Like foreign people went to school with?
It was just, all the foreign people I knew, like, they loved the idea of, like, like the guys from Estonia, Ronnie from the Philippines. Those guys would always go like, oh yeah, let's go for a walk. Jan from Iceland. But all the Americans, like the concept of walking more than like 2 blocks was like, no, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. I try to avoid taking the bus if I can. But...
I hate the fucking bus. The main thing I realized in San Francisco, I'm like, if you walk, you actually get there faster. Because the bus stops at every corner along the way. And you got to pay like $2 for the bus or something nowadays.
Yeah, $2.
It's just not really worth it unless you really, maybe if it's like, I don't know, you're a guy, it's not like it's a big deal. It's like, if you're a woman, I guess I can see why you'd maybe take the bus. But
well, even some of the fucking nuts, I mean, I'm not even sure this guy was homeless, but some of the fucking nuts. Like, you have the area that's kind of like reserved for people, like, in the front. For elderly and disabled in the front.
Oh, yeah.
If there's no one there, you could take a seat, fine, whatever. But there's like an old Chinese lady, an old Russian lady, walk onto the bus. There's like this younger Jesse Pinkman looking motherfucker sitting right there. And as this lady is walking up to the seat, this guy's sitting there, he suddenly spins around and like kind of sets his legs on 2 seats.
Nope.
Kind of like a total
psych.
Yeah, and he kind of like had a beanie and sunglasses, kind of puffy jacket, smiling, And they just both have these 2 old ladies with this like look like what the fuck, and they just kind of like
youth.
They just kind of sit down on the other side, just like whatever, and like it's not like the biggest deal because it was a pretty empty bus, but at the same time it's kind of like
Hello.
What fucking enjoyment do you get from like pestering some old ladies? He's kind of like, hey ladies, how's it going? He's trying to like talk and like kind of
Want
like
to get high?
I couldn't hear, but he's almost like, it was almost kind of like that. Yeah, it seemed like that, and it just like the bus driver had to turn like, hey, you gotta leave him alone, man. Just leave him alone. The guy got off the next stop. So it's that kind of shit right there that.
Yeah, the bus is just like last time. Yeah, just last time, just not worth it because you got to deal with all the people on there and they're dirty and they take forever and they cost money. I just feel like but might as well walk.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, it's like a child's playground compared to other cities. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm gonna try to. It's my days off are somewhat sparing, but yeah, it's going good so far. It just takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't have a podcast.
It's definitely different. It's a city where the people aren't the same as the rest of the world.
Plus, I have a Plus, I don't have. There's no one to talk to you about. I don't have a podcast where I can talk about like, did you see Amazing Spider-Man 2? Did you see Captain America?
Well, that's like when I lived in San Francisco, we just didn't have enough money to see that many movies. That's why I only saw like a few. Like I saw like Rambo 4, and I saw like Tropic Thunder, and there wasn't that many movies I remember just being able to go see.
Well, within the
good
month,
one, you should go to the AMC theater. I know that one has at least like 10 plus cinemas.
Within the month and change I lived there, I've seen about like probably 4 or 5 movies.
You probably saw as many movies as I saw the entire year.
I got one that's kind of in walking distance, and like I saw.
Well, all the theaters were in walking distance for me too.
I saw. Well, let's see. Plus at the same time, you had Cisco, so you had someone to hang out with.
Yeah.
So I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, I saw Captain America 2, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and I also saw, I want to say there's something else. Oh yeah, I went with Grant. We actually caught, I had no idea this was going on. The International San Francisco Film Fest was going on, and caught the last day of it.
Was that the one in Castro?
It was in Japantown.
Oh, okay.
But apparently they got a film festival for everything because somebody was running through the. They have there's a gay film festival.
Yeah.
There's a film festival for everything in San Francisco apparently, but no, there was like a what was it? There was a in Japantown. There was one that was like an international film festival, and there's one Grant just never been to a film festival before. He always wanted to go. We had time for one of these movies. Like, all right, let's check this out. I went to go see this movie called Heaven Adores You, which is about. I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm not judging. I'm just curious if you know. Do you know who Elliott Smith is?
That sounds familiar.
Oh, okay. Well, Elliott Smith. Apparently, he was this musician, this indie folky musician. And I never really heard. He actually.
The name just sounds familiar.
He did the song. He was nominated for an Academy Award. He did the song and some of the music for whatchamacallit, for Good Will Hunting.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of the only thing I really knew of. And this is kind of my one encounter with a douchebag hipster since I moved there. I was assuming it was going to be every day, but it's been more the homeless people.
San Francisco and Sacramento are kind of like capitals for like douchebags. I mean, not douchebags, I mean hipsters.
But
well, that too, douchebags too, I guess. But
well, hipsters. Some hipsters can be cool. It's just like anything else. Like there's the douchebags, there's the cool ones, And Grant and I were sitting there like, all right, like the guy who made the film, it was like an indie film. And I don't think Elliott Smith, I don't think he's somebody that really would be well known, clearly, because that's what the documentary was somewhat about, and they had to get the documentary funded through Kickstarter. Yeah. So, and the guy said like, okay, everybody who knows who Elliott Smith is, raise your hand. Like a bunch of people raised their hands. Like anybody who don't know who Elliott Smith is, raise your hand. Me, Grant, like 2 other people in the back raised their hand. And the guy sitting next to him.
Everybody's just like turning their nose up at you like, huh,
yeah, like
noobs.
Some fucking little like douchey cocksucker like sitting like a seat away from us was like, he doesn't know who Elliott Smith is. Just like
look at him in his Batman shirt.
And it was just like, well, no, I don't know who Elliott Smith is. And if he had to get funded through Kickstarter, I'm guessing a lot of people probably don't know who Elliott Smith is. Enough to get it made. I'm not saying that it cancels out any legitimacy of the guy.
But yeah,
and it was actually a good documentary. It was good. I learned something.
Yeah, you can always walk away learning something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta kind of put up with that. That's kind of like the hipster attitude is if you're not in the know, then you must be an idiot.
Yeah, I highly doubt that dude knew who Elliott Smith was.
And I'm pretty sure most of people raise their hands anyways, because a lot of people just raise their hands. They
don't want to look stupid.
Exactly.
I'm guessing a lot of people, they probably didn't even know who Elliott Smith was till like 2 or 3 years ago, probably.
Yeah, if that even.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like it just sounds like a name that I probably read somewhere. Probably fucking saw its name in Good Will Hunting.
I'll check. It's the song that plays. His main song is the one that plays as you see the car driving through the credits.
Oh, okay.
And it's good. I'm gonna have to probably check out some of his music on Spotify. I liked it. So kind of like modern folk stuff from Portland. When was it from? Yeah, he's from Portland. Yeah. During the 90s.
That's definitely not my type of music. I like 90s, but
well, it was like 90. He had like some kind of weird like I'm not sure how you'd say it. It was like kind of like. They had another band. I don't remember what it was called already. I think it was like Heatmeisters or something. And it was kind of like, sort of like kind of Pixies, kind of hard rock kind of thing with a little bit of grunge. And then he did more of kind of like an Eddie Vedder-ish type folk type thing. Kind of softer. Not
as intense as Eddie.
Not as intense as Eddie, because well, even like Eddie's folk stuff, it sounds kind of like.
It's like Tom Morello. It still sounds kind of heavy.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little softer, but even like Eddie Vedder stuff, like if you listen to like any of his folk albums, it's like this is like every Pearl Jam album has the one or two really soft songs. That's kind of all of like what his folk songs are.
Just all
the 1-2 songs off the Pearl Jam albums that everyone's like, all right, just let Eddie go on there with the fucking ukulele. He'll shut up about it, you know.
He's got to play his 3-chord like melodies.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, probably a good place to leave off at. Make sure you check out oldmanorange.com for all kinds of things Old Man Orange. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange Podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.